to have a concept. You have a great concept. You guys are doing it, man. And it's an honor for me to just be, a small rock, man, in your mountain. I'm going to pop a top in your honor.
Mr. Doc Walker blessed us with his presence and knowledge.
We want to welcome in our next special guest, Haley Skarupa. She's a three-time world champion in women's ice hockey and most recently won Olympic gold with Team USA.
The Cap Stadium Series is definitely my favorite, obviously. I'm a huge Caps fan. I always have been. And to be there at that game with my teammates and for us to bring, our gold medals to there and share it with everyone in this area was really, really special for me. And just the support and it's been tremendous from everyone in this area, and you can feel that there at that game.
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network.
And welcome to episode 370 of Sports on the Hill podcast. We are live broadcasting an hour later than usual. I had an awesome day date trip with my wife. We didn't want it to end, so we decided to enjoy our time, our last night with G-Mama here, watching the kids. I find the kids are much better for her when we're not around. So we decided to disappear and let her have her final night with the kids and do this show a little bit later. I've been watching a little bit of wrestling. We got the Road to WrestleMania going on here. We've got an interesting last week for the Capitals. Usually we have lots of guests on, but I wanted to give everyone else the night off, and I thought that Gil and I could have a conversation, not with stats and stuff on the screen, but just talking about our thoughts on how the team has been playing. I will quickly just go through how the games did. We'll talk briefly about each game, and then I was able to go to the big city celebration for Alexander Ovechkin. And with that, I got some footage. Now, of course, I shot this footage in a stadium, so I wouldn't say it's the highest quality of footage that have ever existed, but it was really fun to be there in person and kind of be like a reporter on the scenes. It was funny because I was actually really up close, and they started moving. They're like, "Oh, are you press?" And for a moment, I was like, "Well, kind of," but I was like, "No, I'll sit in the stands like everybody else there." But we have covered the team for 9 years. There's probably a lot more than most of the people that were sitting there have done. But it was great. It was a wonderful thing. I'll break down all of my thoughts on that. We'll preview the final 2 regular season games of the season that matter so much for the Capitals. And then we have the playoffs coming up. And we'll talk about is the world falling down ahead of the playoffs, because according to Caps fans, this past weekend doomed our chances in the playoffs. That's kind of the everyone's already jumping off the bandwagon, Gil. It's pretty amazing how quickly people forget or don't understand meaningless games. But anyway, I understand you want to be gearing up at the right time, and I know you don't want to be sputtering, now, but Columbus needed those games. They're paid to win too. So it's a very difficult scenario. We'll address all of it and talk about our potential playoff foes. And it's interesting is we kind of almost have to potentially preview the playoffs because there might be a game before we even come on the air the next time. So the schedule has not been announced, and it may throw off our schedule for next week, because if there's a game on Monday night, I'm probably not doing a simulcast during it, because I don't know if my nerves can handle that, Gil. So, we'll have to, I want people who are listening to this, stay tuned to the upcoming schedule. We'll announce it, obviously, on the Facebook page and on my Instagram page. But yeah, lots of exciting stuff to talk about. But Gil, welcome into the show tonight. How are you doing?
Привет, ме корхожни другове Грус. Ими здесь Торби Frosnat Alexander Ovechkin.
And the translation is?
Hello, my good friend Robbie Gross, and we are here to celebrate Alexander Ovechkin.
Yes, I like it. I like it. So this will be a bit of a companion piece, if you will, to last week's show, where we had 2 hours of celebrating Alexander Ovechkin out of a 3 hour show, which was so much fun. I credit that along with the game after the Stanley Cup and a couple of other ones in that run as some of my favorite hockey ones we've ever been able to do. And it was a lot of fun to have. You know, C4, Anna, and Janae are all fantastic. We've never actually had them all in one show before, which is super fun to be able to talk about the great Alexander Ovechkin. I'll get your thoughts, Gil, real quickly on just generally the week and your podcast that you released this week and what you talked about.
Okay. Well, just to get the preview of the episode out of the way, yeah, it's a long one. So if you've got some time, might want to sit down with a snack and get really, really comfortable because Ginny and I go on for close to 90 minutes. Well, there was a lot to unpack. There was the goal, of course, the record-breaking goal. So we had to discuss that at some length. There was, well, we don't really, kind of a departure from what we usually do. Don't really break down the games because, frankly, they weren't really breakdown worthy, except for the Carolina game, except for the one win. But yeah, we go over that and kind of a speculation as to how things will play out. So that's that. Now, how I'm kind of with you as far as Caps fans getting on my nerves because I think they're either too high or too casual or too doom and gloom. And, somewhere you got to meet in the middle. You got to be a little bit more realistic. It's not as though we don't have a right to be concerned, but it's not as though they've all of a sudden become not playoff worthy. Okay. It's not, they have not fallen off the face of the earth. Okay. So it's still, we still don't even know who we're playing yet.
And the Habs aren't anointed. They haven't automatically won because it's a rematch of 2010. Like, it doesn't, just because the optics are similar, these are very different teams coached by very different people in very different scenarios. And I want to remind Caps fans, we weren't even supposed to make the playoffs this year. Obi wasn't supposed to break the record this year. There's already been lots of things that haven't supposed to happen this year. So, let's keep an open mind until we lose 4 games. We're not out of the playoffs yet. So, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I don't get the hand wringing, but I also I don't get the other end that are like, oh, relax. Well, there happens to be things to be concerned about, but as a friend of mine mentioned, they are fixable problems that are fixable.
Right. Yep. And we haven't played with a complete team in a while, right? So, people have been in and out of the lineup. There's been a lot with the Alexander Ovechkin record-breaking stuff. There's always going to be a little bit of a hangover. You're also playing against a team. Again, I'll mention again, Columbus needed both of those games. I cannot stress that enough. And you'd love to be able to turn it on and have the same compete level as a team who needs the win versus a team that wants the win, right? We didn't need the win. We wanted the win. And sometimes when you want to win versus a team that needs a win, it doesn't always work out that way. Now, I don't love that we got blown out, right? There is something to be said for having a compete level. And I thought that the next game, the last game we'll talk about, there definitely was a higher compete level. I know that I saw that you mentioned that in a couple of forums as well, and I truly believe that. I'm not just saying that because I want to believe it. But yeah, we're gonna quickly go through it. We're not gonna throw up stats and stuff on these games, but I definitely want people to at least know how they went. So I'm gonna go back in time a little bit, and so where we last left off. Was we had played the Islanders and we had gotten that loss 4-1, and then an important game against Carolina, sort of a get-right game. There was still something to play for at that time. If we could get both points in this game, we would get the Eastern Conference, right? We would wait. Or were we eliminating them from the Metro title? I think it was the Metro first, and then the Eastern Conference came later, possibly.
later in the week. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But bigger than that, it was something of a pride game too, where last meeting with these two, which was barely a week ago, was a nasty, nasty beatdown by the same team that they may end up playing in the playoffs.
yeah, they kind of trajectory second round playoff matchup. If
Right.
everything goes according to plan. Yeah, so it was pretty. I agree, and I like that they got up for that game. And it didn't start off so great. They scored 542 and 714 into the game to fall down 2-0 early, which I didn't particularly love. But Pierre-Luc Dubois, who's been phenomenal all season, and I think player of the game, and in fact they gave the golden chain to him, I believe, after the game, and they believed that he was the player of the game because this power play sparked a lot of momentum, and just he was really standing up for guys and really being a presence on the ice in a lot of different facets. But I mean, a power play goal from him definitely helps. It starts the scoring for us 2-1, and it's just by Majapan and Sandin, 14 and 25th of the season. And then the second period was phenomenal. That's what you sort of want to bottle up in playoff hockey. Best period of the week. We got a Dylan Strome goal on the power play, his 26th of the season. We got Ovechkin with his 28th assist on that one at 10:50, ties it up. 2-2 to Nick Dowd, gets his 14th of the season. Duhaime gets his 12th assist. John Carlson's 46th assist and 16:51 is what that time. And then, just over a minute later, at 17:29, Tom Wilson gets on the scoring action. It's his 33rd goal. I decided to wear Tom's number today. Assist by Connor McMichael, 31, brings us up to 4-2. Played pretty well through that second period, and then the wheels fell off in the third a little bit. They made it 4-3. And then Seth Jarvis makes one of the most incredible hockey plays I've ever seen. Not only does he stop Ovechkin from an empty netter, right? Because Ovechkin's now back to being allowed to have empty netter goals again. And he almost got this one, and he knocks it out of midair, which is difficult as hell to do. And then gets on the end of his horse and goes to the other side of the ice and scores the game-tying goal. I have never seen somebody stop an empty netter and score a game-tying goal ever. Have you ever seen it? I've never seen it.
If I have, it's been a long time, and yeah, that was kind of crazy, but you kind of knew the way the game was going. You kind of knew, and no, I don't love that they had to go to the shootout to win it, but overall, like you said, they definitely got up for this game, and that in and of itself, I think, is a very good sign because they realized how important it was, and now that we're actually looking at the playoffs, staring them in the face, I think to a man they're going to realize, if they haven't by now, which I hope they have, that when they get there, they're going to need that level of effort and compete and beyond and higher than that just to survive.
Right. I do think that there is some sense of, I don't want to say that we're not trying, because we're definitely trying, but you don't want to try so hard you get hurt, right? Because it's not important enough, right? You want to try enough that you're trying a couple of different things out. And people talked to Trotz in 2018, and we lost a bunch of games going into the playoffs that year too, because he said he wanted to try a bunch of different things going in there, different combinations, situations that he might have to switch into, and use this time for those purposes. And I wonder if a little bit of that is going on here as well. That you definitely want to get it so you're not out of gear, right? So it's hard to get back into gear, but you also want to have the opportunity that people are comfortable playing with different players if you need to shuffle stuff up in the playoffs, because sometimes based on lineups and matchups from the other team, you need to get players away from different players, and by doing that, you may have to change your lineup, right? So it's rare to get to a Stanley Cup where you've kept the same lineups consistently through the whole run, right? Often lines will have to shift, adjustments will have to be made, sometimes in game, sometimes within a series, sometimes series to series. And so I think it's important. And that's one of the things that I thought was a really good sticking point. Remember in 2018, there were guys in and out of that lineup in that playoff run, and different people had to step up big in different sort of lines and situations. And I think that some of that run where they were having difficulties leading up to it, but trying different things, could have been helpful for that, right? So I can see an argument for that. And so I want people that are also doom and gloom to be thinking that that can be a possibility. Who knows? I'm not saying we're going to turn it on next week and I have zero concern. I have concerns, but I also don't want people to get too ahead of themselves. You don't lose the series until you lose 4 games. And so, there's a lot of hockey to be played. And in my mind, this is this year's house money, Gil, right? We were just trying to elevate the young guys, get Ovechkin the record, set ourselves up for success next year. And I think we did all 3 of those things without even winning a single playoff game.
Well, see that is where we diverge, because in my mind, this is a team that, based on the way they're playing, the way they've been playing for most of the year, and what they're capable of. I'm not going to be satisfied until they win a playoff series, because that's been on the knock on them forever. Now, were they expected to win a playoff series last year? No. But it would be nice to see them win one this year. They don't have to win the cup. They don't even have to win the conference. But I think for this season to truly be a step forward, they at least have to get past the first round, prove they can hang in the playoffs. Now, the stuff that was tried that you mentioned that was different, I mean, no better example than Anthony Beauvillier started on the top line in the last game with Ovechkin and Strome. Let them try some things out like that. You never know. I mean, who'd have thought chocolate and potato chips? Who'd have thought that combination would work? But it does. Right. You never know. Let them experiment. Let them figure things out. Get some chemistry going with different people, like you said. It's not going to hurt. They've clinched as much as they can clinch so far. So I'm not too worried with the experimenting with the line combinations and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I trust in our coach too much. His finger has been on the pulse of the team the whole season. His post-game videos, immaculate. For me, he can't do wrong until I see him do wrong, right? I'm not going to, question. I mean, no one had us at the top of the East. No one had us clinching even before, the final week, right? It's so far beyond people's expectations. And I want to put this on record. We started to talk about it last week, but we haven't talked about it today. Boston did not make it. Philly did not make it. Pittsburgh did not make it. New York Rangers did not make it. 4 of our biggest rivals, and I can't stress that enough, right? Maybe the 4 biggest rivals, an argument can be made, didn't make the playoffs. It's hard to make the playoffs, and we're making it as the 1 seed. The fact that anybody can find fault is, to me, amazing. And I'm not saying that they played great this week, and they played shitty, but haven't they played so well this season that a couple of shitty games shouldn't matter that much? It's just, I don't know.
No, for the most part, I agree. I think the problem most Caps fans are having is the timing, is the fact that this is happening with so little time left in the season. And you add to that the fact that, well, they've managed to avoid the injury bug for the most part. And here we are. Chychrun gets sick. Protas gets his foot cut, misses all these games. Thompson gets hurt. We still don't know what's wrong with him, but he's actually looking a little better. I'm fingers crossed. Maybe, just maybe, he'll be well enough in time to start, but who knows? I think all of that is kind of building up a perfect storm for everybody getting antsy again. And it's, well, I don't want to talk like I'm on some high horse or something, but it kind of helps that when you're older like me and you've seen stuff like this play out so many times before in the past, you almost know what to expect, even though when it comes to Stanley Cup playoffs, you can expect the unexpected. But it's not as if this kind of thing hasn't happened before. It's not like the Caps aren't this team that has not run into adversity. I think they have many times, sometimes self-inflicted. So they know how to get around a situation like this. That said, I think this will be Coach Carberry's first real test as to how to navigate a team through the playoffs. And that's a little scary, but I think, to your point, he's done well, very well by his team so far. So there's no reason to think that they won't at least achieve the same level of success.
Right, because they're bought in. That's the key for me. They're bought
Yes.
into his system, who he is to a man. They have, this run, especially with Ovechkin, has brought them even closer together. The chemistry is there. Whether or not the bounces go our way, the injury bugs, settle in the right way and don't derail us too much. So there's a lot of things have to go your way in a Stanley Cup run. 4 rounds. It's brutal. I think it's the hardest championship to win in all sports. I will stand by that for a very long time just because of how many things have to go right and how many different rounds. And I think that people remember 2010 and remember other times where we've been President's Trophy and remember Caps failures in the playoffs. And so it's hard to shake that. It's hard to not feel, oh no, it's not happening again. But for me, when 2018 happened, everything that we always believed in would happen in reverse that year, which makes me think that in any given year, yes, all those things are true of the Capitals of the past, but it's not this team. Just like it was in 2018, right? We thought it could be, but it wasn't. And, we thought we were going to go down in every round when we ended up winning on the road in every round, which is almost unbelievable. Right? These are things that have never been done before or happened maybe once in history. And so I hope that people go in with some belief. That's what really upsets me. It's like, man, Ovechkin's given you the best show on ice in 30 years, and the team has performed better than anyone has expected. Let's give them a chance. That's all I'm asking. You don't have to, wait until the wheels fall off before you're like, I told you so. And I'll be the first to be like, well, maybe you're right. Maybe you did peak too early in this season. Happens to a lot of teams. An interesting stat that I saw, and I really wish I had copied it down because I wanted to talk to you about it. The last 5 years, champions all had to go through adversity at the end of the season. All but one. There's one team that didn't. But almost all of them went through losing streaks of 4 out of 5 games. Down the stretch and points. And I almost didn't remember until they brought up, they literally done research team by team by team by team. And if you go back to the last 5 champions, they all had adversity down the stretch. I think partially because sometimes you clinch and then you're playing teams that are desperate for spots. Sometimes it's just, hard to manufacture it, whatever happens. But they are all able to figure it out and get it together, when it mattered most. And so why not us? Why could we not be faltering down the stretch and have, that be our wake-up call, which in some ways is good. I almost think if you went in with a 10-game win streak and thought that there was nothing that was wrong and your shit doesn't stink, Gil, do you think that that's a better place to be going into it? I don't know.
Very, very good phrasing, Robbie, because what I was about to say was that winning can be a very good deodorant.
Right.
To cover up that which does stink with your team. So yes, to that point, yes, it's good to find out where you're weak and at least try to fix that before it becomes a huge problem. Is it a problem right now? Yes. Is it a huge problem? No, because they haven't played any meaningful games, not for a while. But they will very soon, and I think they know that. Now, I want to mention something here. I don't know if this was going to be part of what you were going to present here, but there was Alex Ovechkin made an appearance on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to make mention of that. And I saw a video of him on Twitter, and they were introducing him, and they're like, "Oh, guys, I want to introduce you to some guys." And he's going up and down the plane, introducing every single player to the guys on the Pat McAfee show, and he's barely calling any of them by name. Ryan Leonard, he called Little Kid Leno or something like that. And they're all laughing and smiling and loose. And, it just makes me think that this team is probably in a lot better place than maybe we fans think they are.
Yeah, I think so too, because that's what made that 2018 team so special, right? They all had that familial bond, and they all played for one another, and no matter how far down and out they seemed to be in any of those series, you couldn't count them out. And that's the team that I want, right? So, I'll quickly go through, the fact that we lost 7-0 to Columbus. It was not good. 3-0 after the first, 6-0 after the second. Not a lot to play for. Ovi doesn't make the trip because he does the city tour thing. The next game, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I thought it was a better play. And Ovi scores a minute into this. People talked, talking to some people online, and some were considering that Ovi would, to rest what ails him, like not play any of the remaining games and just, not take any risk getting injured and go into it. I was really happy to see him. And I always know that he loves wearing the black sweater, and it was fan appreciation night. So I'm happy that he came out and supported him and got another goal. So now we have a new goal scoring record. In 896. So I feel like it's almost like a wrestling and new, every time we have to do it because it is a new record every time. So congratulations to setting the record for Alex Ovechkin. And 4 away from 900. I guess that's the one question we have left is, do you think he can get 4 goals in the last 2 road games, Gil?
He can if he really, really wants to, but something tells me that is not going to be the focus. I think he's going to gather the troops and say, "Hey, look, there's stuff we got to work on. Let's use these games to fine tune things and, get in a good place on the ice before the real show starts." So he will try. I'm sure he will try his hardest, but he knows there's next year. And as
maybe beyond.
As we heard, possibly more. Yeah. So,
because that's what we were talking about with Janae. If people missed last week's show, it's like if he continues to score, let's just say 30 plus goals a season, which would be wild, right? How do you hang it up at that level, right? I just, to me, until he has a season where he's scoring 20 or less, I say keep going. Because you're going to be able to score something in Dynamo even at that point, right? Like there's something still in the tank.
True. I think he might have realized that. Well, I got more left, and I may as well just keep playing until I get close to the part where it really, really, really hurts getting out of bed.
Right. If it hurts. But I think he's starting to see these young guys coming up the pipeline, and he's like, "Ooh, I get to play with them." Where think about that situation where he doesn't no longer the focus, and he's the old guy on the PowerPoint, and doesn't only has to play 15 minutes a game, and he doesn't have to be, you know what I'm saying? Like he could be a second line guy. Or even a third line guy, as crazy as that would be, you could be still a 20 or 30 goal scorer on the third line. That would be exciting. Like, I don't know. There's opportunities for Father Time Ovechkin there, so I hope that he continues at least. And I did like the line where he said he would sign 13 years right now with Ted again if he lets him. So I'm saying you do it. But anyway, it's not my money. So anyway, so the 2 Columbus games, combined score of 1-11. Not too worried about that. In fact, let's just take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard because tonight there was a big game in Montreal, and they lost
They lost in the shootout. I watched this game. This was amazing. Chicago they brought their best. They did not give Montreal an easy time at all.
Wow.
And if a close to the bottom of the barrel team can do that, then I'm confident, as long as the Caps raise their compete level, because they're not, Montreal's playing very, very well lately, but they are still beatable. And they took it all the way to the shootout. You talk about stuff that's never ever happened before. Really goofy something happened in the shootout. Frank Nazar took his shot. It was a second shot for the Hawks. He took it, and he scored, but the referee ruled it a no goal because, as far as he saw, it never went in the net. And then the next shot was taken by the Canadiens, and that didn't score. And then all of a sudden the ref said, "Oh, wait a minute, stop. We have to look at it." They checked the replay, and yes, indeed, it did. Nazar's shot did go into the net. So they had to go back and count that. But instead of letting Montreal have their shot back, they just continued with the next round. And that was the only goal scored, so that counted. So that was the winning goal.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. So Montreal, with that, because the 89 points, I'm just doing the math here. So I guess because if Columbus can win both in regulation and Montreal loses in regulation their final game, which is against Carolina, and
they are almost dead even in regulation wins. That's why this is still losing in the shootout. That's why they had to get the outright win, because that would clinch it for them for good. But they're like one apart as far as regulation wins. So Montreal has one game left. Columbus has two, and if Columbus wins out, then the worst they can do is tie for regulation wins. But it won't matter if Montreal gets another win. If they win their last game. But Columbus definitely has to win out, because Montreal, all they have to do is just get 1 point.
Yeah, it's 1 point for Montreal and it's over. But so Columbus is at Philly, and then they play the Islanders at home, the last one. And yeah, Montreal has just one game against Carolina. If they get any point in that, then they have locked it up. So be interesting to see who we end up playing. I would definitely rather play Columbus, because I feel like Columbus will think that they had our number based on the other ones, but they haven't really played the real Capitals team. So I feel like that would be fool's gold. It's not like sometimes when you beat a team right before the playoffs, it's like, oh, I've got your number. Like, but that's only in a situation where both teams are putting, all the best players forth and stuff like that. And all right, let's. I do want to talk a little bit about some of these cool moments from the Going to the City series. So let me see if I can share the screen here, and I'm gonna switch it to there. And so these were actually pictures, but what's cool is when you have live photo, sorry, let me just change this over here. It actually just changed them into 3 second, So you can sort of see this is, but I'll pause them just because it's easier to talk about them instead of jumping back and forth. So this is what they did. So they put a floor over the ice, and they had sort of like this little center space where people can talk. And then there was the grade 8 over here. This goal, if you can see in the distance, well, I'll walk you around the thing. So we have me under the goal scoring wall over here is showing 895, and yeah. So, and then we've got this is like a cool light up 8 that you can take pictures with. And then we've got the this cool like inflatable capital thing. It's not down here. What do you look? I don't Over here we got Alan May, and so he was being interviewed, which was kind of cool. And this is exactly the same spot that I ended up meeting him. So he started to line up right after there, and I decided to join him. I took a couple pictures. There we go. Me meeting him, which was really sorry if I mute this. And then right after that, I went back up to my seat, and then this is sort of what it looked like from where I was sitting, which was pretty cool. And you can see that it was really a pretty busy thing. It was a very rainy Friday. So I definitely know a lot of people wanted to be there that they couldn't. It also opened at 3, and the talking part started at 4, so I know a lot of people were at work, and so they couldn't take off work for this. But I thought that they were doing it early because I thought they wanted to get Ovechkin to be able to get to an airplane, but I'm happy they gave him the day off. It was just such a quick trip to Ohio that they just went without him, which was perfectly fine. So anyway, I wanted to zoom in. This is the goal. Yeah, it's not here. And this is the goal over here that he actually scored into. So I think it's kind of funny. They stole the Islanders' goal, Gil. Not only did I'm sure that's going to go into either the Hockey Hall of Fame, Ovechkin's building this entire awesome. I guess it's going to be a museum. I'm not sure where it's going to be, but he's got all the sticks, and he's got all like goalie pads and goals and all this cool stuff and memorabilia from his playing career and past, including Wayne Gretzky's sticks and stuff like that as well. So that's cool. And then here I am sitting in my seat, and then they have Ovechkin goats, which I thought was pretty amazing. They actually handed Ovechkin a goat at the end of this. But unfortunately, I left right before that because I thought it was over, and I kind of wanted to jump on the metro before everybody in the stadium did. But they handed out T-shirts and handed him a goat after I left. So I don't have any footage of that, but that's on social media. You can see that Slapshot's getting everybody all fired up. And so doing his thing, and Ted coming in and celebrating that, and then they did a great video. Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL. Alex Ovechkin scores 895. There's a new goal-scoring champion, and his name is Alexander Ovechkin. By the way, it's funny because that's John Walton with the call, right, on the radio. And this past week, John Walton's taken over for Joe B because he hasn't been feeling well. And people are like, who's this John Walton guy? I'm like, oh my God, facepalm moment. But Gil, one thing that was really cool, I don't remember if we talked about it last week, but really kind of a cool thing that Kenny Albert called it for TNT. You got John Walton called it on the radio, and Joe B called it on TV. And
nice little circle there.
Yeah, so it's
and if you don't know what we're talking about, a long time ago, and this is another reason it's great to be old like me. When Kenny Albert was much younger and starting out his broadcasting career, his very first gig was on the old Home Team Sports Channel, now Monumental, doing the play-by-play for Caps games.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool that it's just wild that they all got to do it. And I think Joe Bees may have been sick for longer than he's been letting on, but just trying to push through to get to the call.
Yeah.
Because the second that it happened, he did the Master of Ceremonies, and then we haven't heard from him in a little bit. But I'm so happy he's able to. The video is really cool. I'm not going to play the whole thing. You guys can go check it out on the YouTube. But just showcasing, him and his kids and the celebration, and just a really Beautiful video there. And then they had the Master of Ceremonies come out and talk to us.
Celebration. This is going to be a lot of fun today. First off, I want to get a round of applause for the monumental video in-house productions team.
So what's cool is, for people that don't know who these people are, Tariq El-Bashir has been covering the Caps for 20 years, and his first thing that he ever got to do for the Washington Post was actually cover the Capitals. And so it's cool that he now works for Monumental, and it's come full circle. And then we got the man himself, which he actually was able to sign this. So this Ovechkin jersey means a lot to me. It's kept me through the entire Ovechkin run. One of my friends got it for me for my birthday in 2008, Gil, to give you an idea how old this is. It doesn't even have a captaincy on it because it was before he was a captain.
Yep.
Right. And then I put a 35-year patch on it because to always remember that year. And then on this side had been a Stanley Cup patch, but it was starting to fall off, and I didn't want it to look raggedy at the thing. So I took it off. I'm going to reattach it onto it. But it's cool to get Alan May's signature now on the back of a jersey that's meant so much. And when I was away, I even had a friend who went to the Winter Classic wear this for me at the Winter Classic. And so it's traveled to lots of really cool things, including going to playoff games in the 2018 run and many other ones. So it's cool that now Alan May's signature is on it as well. So
and that's just crazy, that to me anyway, that there's lots of Caps fans out there that forget that Alex Ovechkin was not always the captain when he played.
Right, it's true. I was actually looking up longest tenured captains in the NHL the other day, and the answer is Sidney Crosby is the longest tenured captain in the NHL. But Ovi's only, and he's actually getting close to the record for most years being a captain of a team. And Ovechkin only, I think, is 3 years behind him on for that. So it's not like. He was only not captain for a couple of those seasons. So, if I remember correctly, I think it was 3, maybe it was 4. But anyway, it was not very long. And then when they shipped out our last captain, they made him 1. So that's the story behind how he got the C. And he's been an incredible captain for us. And so, but anyway, it was really cool to hear them talk about their time covering the team.
The draft lottery. Okay. We have the draft lottery.
That was a picture. Hold on.
What I do want to say is how blessed we've been to have an organization, a team, star players that are selfless.
So this is Ted Leonsis wanted or they had him speak at the beginning. I just want to show off one thing, Gil. He's a billionaire, right? But he's wearing sweatpants, a t-shirt under I love the hobo chic. It looks fantastic. But I just think that's really funny to me, right? Like he,
That's kind of been his look for a while. I think he's definitely he's definitely trying to go for the man of the people thing, and most of the time it works, some of the time it doesn't. But I'll give him his props. It doesn't look too bad on him.
Right. I love that he's wearing the old era, one. It's the same one that I'm wearing, but in white, right? So, so it's like the old school version.
Playing for their teammates, and they're playing for you, and you see yourself in their success, and they feed off of that, and they return that love back. And really what this whole week, this celebration, what Alex has achieved, it really was for the fan base, it really was for his family, it really was for his teammates. And you see Alex just walked in the back and Nick was there, and I said, you feel a lot of love? And Alex said, yeah, I love these guys. He loves you as fans. So you're worthy of that love because you've become the best fans. We have the best city, the best, most powerful, most important community. And we have one of the best, if not the best, hockey franchise in the NHL. So for that we're responsible for that. And I'm grateful. This is my 25th year. My family, Zach, is here.
that was that clip. But I love that, what he said. You know, 'cause he said so much that we're deserving of the love, and it's such a great two-way street that it's been for these 20 years. And you know, he gets a hard time about his ownership of the Wizards a lot, right? And some of the other teams that he's done. But what he's done with the Capitals is nothing short of remarkable. I mean, he really saved this franchise because 25 years ago, it wasn't what we see today. It was before the Rock the Red era. You know, there was that run in, 1998, right? But it just, this changed the landscape.
Well, here's how much it changed from them. That year, the final series was against Detroit. And the Caps colors weren't red, but the people in the stands were wearing a lot of red. You know why? Because they were all from Detroit. Mm-hmm. You don't get that a whole lot anymore. Mm-hmm. Every Caps game, even if there's, invaders from the other team, you're going to see Caps fans outnumber those guys, 50-1 easily in most games. And I've been to a dozen or so games in the last 3 years, and it's still true.
I'm just so sad that I didn't have a smartphone back then. My dad took me to that Game 4, and I could tell you how red it was. And so it's just so weird that now I see red in a very different way in the Rock the Red era. And it was before. I mean, they were white and blue and, black. It wasn't, they didn't even have red then. So maybe he thought it looked good to have the stadium be full of red, and that's why he changed it. But yeah, it's been an interesting progression over the years for sure.
25 years ago when we announced that Alex was not going to sign a 5-year contract extension, everyone groaned, and I said, because he's going to sign a 13-year contract. And it's because of you that the world's greatest players say they want to spend their entire life and career here. And so we want to make Alex part of our family for the rest of his life. Same with Nick, same with TJ. I think it's important to keep that kind of tradition, that kind of culture going. And the reason they would make that kind of commitment, want to be here, is because of you. So we thank you for being the greatest fans. Can't thank you enough.
So yeah, I just want to put that part in there too, just because I thought that was really interesting that he really credits this fan base with being able to help us retain these players for so long. So this is when they're
politicians are probably
I'm not going to actually show this part, but I did want to show that they did a proclamation, Gil, right? So they came in and talked about his greatness, read a proclamation about how amazing Ovechkin is, and so it's like an official proclamation now in Washington, D.C. history for how great he has been to the city and all that sort of stuff. So it's a 3-minute video that I'm not going to have a sit through, but it was really nice to see, the city and how much they appreciate them and give back to that.
All right, so thanks for being here and thanks for scoring all these goals. It's been an absolute treat. But I do have to tell you, my favorite thing in all of this, the grace and humility of Wayne Gretzky, but when you broke that record, you grabbed the microphone in Long Island, you said, we did it. To your teammates, to all your teammates, the entire fan base, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. I would say thank you for your support. Support this organization, support us, and every time when I said we did it, it's because of Nick Backstrom, TJ Oshie, John Carlson, previous my teammates who obviously did a tremendous job to help me out growing up as a person and as a player. And it's tremendous how Stan said, it was in this stage, it was like yesterday, right? We signed 13 years ago. So Ted said it's going to be extension maybe? can sign right now for 13 more years. So.
That's the part I wanted to get in there. I love that. He would sign 13 more years right now, and that's what I would do it too. And it's
yeah, it was like yesterday, time slide, and obviously to see how we grow up, how fan base, how the city growing up, like hockey-wise, it's tremendous, and be part of it. It's unbelievable feeling, Thank you guys. Thank you all, and I love you too, guys.
I have to say, it's amazing how far his English has come.
I was just thinking the same thing. I was thinking the exact same thing. There's a podcast, a national hockey podcast, who I won't name, said the same thing, and that was 6 years ago. Right. That the host said was like, "Wow, it's amazing how good his English has been." Yeah. And if you see videos of when he first came over, he barely spoke 2-3 words, and I can't remember what exactly it was, but I think his first English word was cheeseburger or something like that, some sort of American food, and he's in these long years he's gone from that to this.
Right. I just think of the funny thing of, was it Kuzi's first line? This is not my first rodeo or something. I remember that early on.
But it's a testament to how much he believes in this, DC, the DMV, being his second home.
Yeah. No, he cares. He
does.
Yeah, if he didn't, he would get a translator. You know what I mean? Like, you think about all the other big-time players that have just translators that do it. He wanted to learn English, and he wanted to be able to talk to people and be a man of the people. And I hear, every time I hear something about him, from past players, whatever, you need a car, he lets you borrow a car. You need a place to stay, he'll let you stay there. He'll help you out. He'll teach you English. He'll, whatever it takes. He takes all these young players under his wing. He, gives so much of his money to charitable causes, or gets behind different causes, or, makes appearances at different things. And, it's just those little things that don't even get really talked about that much. And everyone's,
I'm going to quote my co-host for this week, and what she said. Can you recall any player, past or present, that has had a bad word to say about Alex Ovechkin, or at least former teammates? No, you can't. You can't find a one. Yeah. You cannot. And that's a testament to, what type of player he is and what type of man he is.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just so proud of him and who he's become. Just his ability to stand up there in front of this huge group of people and, be able to conduct himself, just amazing.
I think without the support what I have from my boys, I would never reach that kind of tremendous accomplishment. And it's gonna be it's gonna be tremendous feeling when everything is going to be over and we gonna meet up in 5 years or 10 years, and we're gonna remember this moment, because obviously it's history, and right now you still been 5 days and you can still thinking what we did, it's all organization, all the players, and it's hard to believe history just made, it's gonna be forever, and it's nice to be part of it. It's nice to be standing here and see all you guys, and I'm pretty sure lots of fans and lots of people who was watching it, and they're gonna remember, wow, I've been there, I watched it on TV, and it's history, man.
Yeah, it is history. And somebody, I was, reading some comments on Facebook, which is always a dangerous proposition, but this was a good one. And this comment said, One thing that is not talked about enough is this becomes a Washington Capitals record.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is an Alexander Ovechkin, but he only ever did it with the Capitals. And so it becomes a record for the Capitals too. All the players that ever played with him, and you can hear it in his voice. He said it many times, on this day, that he wouldn't be able to do it with all the people that are standing by his side, and and all of his teammates through all those 20 years. So I think that was tremendous.
I know I promised that already like 2 or 3 times, but the question I know a lot of people out there are wondering is, when you got within like 3 goals, how did you deal with all the pressure? I mean, the entire sports world, it wasn't just the hockey world, the entire sports world was watching.
Of course, you start thinking about like when it gets closer and closer, but beginning of the year, like you guys just killing me on this question. yeah, thank you. And after every goal, like you guys, okay, you think it's possible? Like, Jesus. But and you're like, again, in the locker room, like we never talk about it, so only you guys, and like.
That's so interesting to me that like it was so talked about everywhere, but as part of the locker room, never talked about. And I believe him. There's no reason for him to, if it was.
It's a testament to his selflessness, I should say. But the other side of that coin to me is like, it's kind of like, how when you have a pitcher that's in the middle of a perfect game and everybody on the bench leaves him alone and nobody looks at him, nobody talks to him. It might have been kind of like that too.
It's true, and for him to still get it done with that level of pressure on him, to do it this year. When we started the season, we looked at 42 goals as the number that he needed to do it. We were like, I don't know, that seems like a lot.
Yeah, after last year, it seemed like a long, long way to get there. But I don't know what he did in the offseason, but he's been even breaking it, having a broken bone in his leg. Even after that, he still looks like he could run over the whole world.
5 goals in 4 games to set it up, that's remarkable. Usually people like peter off, and it's hard to get those last couple of ones, all the pressure. Every station's on it. Every game is on ESPN or NHL Network. You know what I mean? Like the biggest of stages, and he scores every night leading up to it. And then I'm like, oh, he's going to score every night leading up to it, but then it's still going to take a while. Nope, next night, boom, did it, right? Like, didn't waste any time. Like, it's just really some amazing stuff.
Started like this conversation. Obviously, like fans, they was like talking about all the time, but that's why it's great chase. It's we're chasing history, and big part of it was something cool, when how I said in 5 years or maybe 2 years, like we're all gonna meet at the bar or whatever, like we're gonna talk about it, and it's like, wow, this was really, really cool moment, and big part of it is, it's something special and something cool.
It was when you scored 700 in New Jersey. I was on the train ride home after the game.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, I started doing the math. I was like, okay, here's how old he is. Here's how many goals he averages.
Am I old?
No, just
14 years.
But that was the night that I said, if he stays healthy, he's going to do it. When did you first kind of start thinking, okay, it's within reach, I can do this?
I think when when I have like maybe 5 or 6 goals, and I think like, seriously, before that year, like, I felt like it's okay, like if I score like 20, it will be nice, but thanks God, like I have such a great group of guys who.
That's an important line there. He thought he could score 20 this year. I just wanted to point that out. Like, he did not think he was going to score 42 this year.
Give me the puck and multi-netters for whatever. Like,
a goal's a goal, Alex.
Yeah, goal's a goal. Yeah, but if you look at all my goals, like it's obviously like you have to shoot the puck, you have to finish it, but all the work what my teammates did, it's tremendous, and that's why I would like when I scored the goal and I knew like Ocean Becky was there and all like previous players, I would never forget them. And
they're all with you.
They're all with me, and this is a moment when, of course, it's Alex Ovechkin #1, but without all the boys, all this support what I have from them,
sure,
it would never happen.
So he shows, again, he's nothing but love for all of them. I'm going to try to skip ahead to a couple other things.
Nicholas Backstrom.
I love that we got to have Nicholas Backstrom come out and TJ Oshie come out and share some of their
Heart and
stories.
soul of the Washington Capitals, TJ Oshie. Thank you guys for being here. I know this is awkward for hockey players because they usually aren't used to being in the middle of the arena in running shoes and jeans. They usually have their Warriors gear on, so this is all new there.
Anyway, so
Nick, what were your emotions when you saw Alex score 894 and then 895, being the guy who has more assists on OV goals than anyone else?
Well, I was up in the stands, obviously, and I celebrated like everyone else, but I think I got really emotional when I saw his family. I walked over there, I saw his wife, kids, and that was very special. His mom, it means a lot for them, so I was just super happy for them, and obviously, so happy for him because I played with him a long time, and I know how much it means to him and the team, organization, the whole city. So I was just super happy for him.
So they have a great interview with all of them. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I wish I had time, but it's a long interview with both of them. But I did want to skip ahead. I think it's this clip.
Alex, your favorite goal out of the 895, and you can only pick one.
First one.
First one, okay. Awesome. Your favorite assist.
To Alex, Stanley Cup Game 5 against Vegas.
The sauce. Oh yeah. And Ocean, same question I asked Alex. Favorite goal that you've seen of his?
Oh, the goal.
Okay.
When Wayne was in there, I saw that thing and I was like, there's no way someone could move their body and still get that puck in the net. And that to me is the most amazing.
He wasn't even on that team at the time. Everyone talked about it in the league, obviously, because he was still with the Blues.
Well, I regret to inform you, you're all wrong because it was the goal he scored against Montreal where he turned Roman around and then crashed into Carey Price with the puck on his stick.
I love that one.
I think you're wrong. I think it was goal 499 in Madison Square Gardens in overtime at 3-3. Where he skated behind the net, went all the way down the ice, walked the defenseman and scored on Henrik Lundqvist. 499. So we go do the right.
So I liked all of their favorite goals. But yeah, it was just a really
you guys.
A really great thing, and you can see how beloved they were. So this is a shot of all of them, and I won't play any more of it because I feel like we kind of got to the salient points of it. But it was just a really beautiful ceremony for them. They also talked about the cup run, and some of their favorite emotional moments, in that. And it's just rare to get to live view a sit-down interview, and he's not retired yet, right? I can see that something like this happening, later on, as a retrospective. But cool that he gets to do it in this moment. But his, two closest teammates got to be sitting next to him and being a part of it as well. And then they handed him a goat afterwards. So, some great stuff there. And so here's the final full group of all the different people that were speaking and were part of it. So really just a great opportunity for Caps fans. I actually got a bunch of stuff from it, but I have it upstairs. Like pins, and I got a bunch of more pennants that I can now put up on my pennant wall for the 50th year of the Capitals. They're giving both the old one like this and the newer school Weagle as well. So just a really super fun event, and just really happy that I got to be a part of it. Gil, any final thoughts on anything that you just saw or witnessed there?
It was a terrific ceremony. I kind of wish I was there, but yeah, the cap, uh, no pun intended, to what's been a really great season. But I think if you know Alex, I think he might also be thinking, well, we're not done yet. This year's not over yet. This is a great thing that happened, a great celebration, but don't treat it like the year's over. We've got more hockey to play. I think is a thought that was kind of lingering in his mind. And well, if if you go with that thought, my takeaway would be, this is great, but there's the playoffs in front of us, and we can put one hell of an exclamation point on this great season by winning the cup. And I think they're going to give it their best effort.
It'd be wild in their 50th season if they could do it.
That would be great. That would be perfect. No matter what happens next year, that would be absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it would be pretty amazing just because, like, now Zach's old enough to understand. Yeah, and Zara watches hockey with us sometimes. I still can't believe I got to watch at an amusement park him break the record with Zach, and get to watch it on my phone. It's just, that'll be a wild thing that I'll always remember. It's just really kind of amazing stuff. I just I feel so lucky that we've gotten to cover him now here in season 10, getting to go to this event. And it reminded me so much of getting to go to the parade and things of that nature, and or even getting to meet the cup, right? So those are some of my favorite moments as a fan. And I haven't been able to get to a Caps game this season, and I don't know if I'll get to go to one, this year. Just they're expensive, and I've got young kids, and so it was great to just get to be in the building and get to take pictures with all the Caps stuff and be around other Caps fans and being able to celebrate this moment and being a part of the 50th season, even if I don't get to go to a game. Yeah, so it was a really kind of a cool experience, and I'm happy that I was fortunate. I was downtown doing a job interview. I got to take a lift over to it, and it worked out really well. And thanks to C4 for suggestions about where to store my bag. And so, yeah, it worked out really well. And so thanks to the Capitals for putting on that event for free for all the fans. I'm happy they moved it to a bigger venue. I do not know how they would have fit all those people in the train station. I know the train station is large, but yeah, it was nice to be able to spread out a little bit, because you have the whole floor, but then you can sit in all of section 100, and it's also nice to get to sit in section 100 without having to pay for a seat. So, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, 2 games left. They don't mean a whole lot other than we just kind of wanted to keep on tuning up a little bit and get prepared for the playoffs. We're at the New York Islanders, where the big hole happened the last time. So maybe he'll set another record in the Island again. And then obviously in Pittsburgh, where I just hope honestly, I hope that he gets 1 against the Islanders and then a hat trick against Pittsburgh and just gets 900 in Pittsburgh. I just think that would be kind of hilarious if that happened. I don't know. Do you think he'll play both games, all joking aside, or do you think?
I don't see why not. There's no reason to think he wouldn't. I get why he skipped the 1 game against Columbus, because once again the damn schedule makers screwed us and put us in a back-to-back extremely late in the season. There's no reason for it. Every other team's got games spread out, but neither here nor there. So I get that, but I mean, these last few are nice and spread out, and I think he wants to get into a spot where he's thinking like, okay, I'm ready to play. I want to prove it, a little more out in the ice, and I want to make sure I am 110% ready for the playoffs. I think that's what his focus is, and there's nothing like an actual game to do it, even though these are really going to be not much more than glorified practices.
Yeah, for sure. Um. Interesting. Sorry, there was someone from Kick was writing something, but I did not understand what they're saying. Still not quite sure I do. Anyway, but welcome on in for people that are watching us on Kick. If people didn't know, we're on live on YouTube, Facebook, on our show channel, Twitch, and Kick. So thank you for all the people that are tuning in. We've got Champ in the wings right now. Gil, any final thoughts before I let you go tonight?
Well, no, not really, other than just what we've been trying to hit on. This is a really great moment. It belongs to the people of DMV, and that's what I'm proudest of. But if you really love this team, it's not over yet. There's still some hockey left to play, and I don't think I can emphasize that point enough. And I don't think the playoffs will be this big disaster a lot of people are already thinking it is. So
Yeah, interesting. I definitely agree with you, and I'm excited, and I can't wait to actually see real playoff games for us to have a real analysis on whether or not the world is falling apart or not. And then we can have a conversation. So the playoffs do begin, I believe, on 4/20. I don't know if the Capitals will be on that first day or later. They tend to put the Capitals as like far into the playoffs as they can in previous years. So rarely do they seem to play on the first night of the playoffs, but who knows? Everything is.
that would be fine by me in this case.
Yeah. So we shall see. And I will, the second the playoffs are announced, go to facebook.com/. SportsOTHP. We'll have it there. We'll also then share it over to the Power Play Point Podcast Facebook page, which you can also find as well. I'm sorry for all those people that are audio podcast fans. I'm still so far behind on the last few episodes of last season. Still debating on whether or not I'm going to put them this season. Now Twitch is deleting VODs, and now Facebook is deleting live videos that are older than 30 days. So if anybody wants old videos, thankfully now we simul-stream, and YouTube videos, which get the least amount of views normally, will still exist past their expiration dates. So VODs and live videos exist for you guys to watch for the weeks and months after, but after a certain number of time, they do disappear. I just want to put it out there that YouTube will be the repository for all videos going forward. I was able to download some really important Facebook Live videos before they're deleting them now, Gil, including the championship ones, after we won the Stanley Cup. I wanted to be able to preserve those before they get deleted. So eventually I'm going to take all those videos and make a best of Facebook Live and re-put that on YouTube so we can always have some of those moments, because they were chopped up as well. If you don't remember, there were multiple lives that night, and so we could actually put them all together into one video to make sure it won't have all the views and all the comments, which I loved so much in them, but at least we'll have the video to remember those runs and other important lives as well. So YouTube will be the repository. So if we don't get the audio podcast up and running again, people can always go back and play them there. So they do exist even if they're in video form, which I think is more exciting and more interesting anyway, going forward, at least from our point of view. And if you want just an audio podcast, you can always check out the Power Play Point podcast as they continue to be an audio podcast. And maybe someday I will get to editing all these audio ones. So we'll see. With that, I thank you, Gil. I appreciate you for being a part of this. I can't wait to talk playoffs with you next week. And stay tuned, listeners, for date and time for the next show for that one.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a good night. And with that, we will bring in DC's People's Champion, and we've got a crazy, crazy night. So in wrestling here. So I've been watching the replay of Raw, and while I've been talking to Gil, and we are going to. So is it right that they had two people fighting for the Intercontinental Championship that are then going to be tag team partners in the WrestleMania? Did I understand this correctly?
Yes. Laura Valkyria and Bailey just wrestled each other for the women's IC title last week on Raw. Then they became a tag team and won the gauntlet on SmackDown this past Friday. And so now they will challenge Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez on WrestleMania Sunday for the women's tag team championships. Yep. And what I like is that the card has already been announced for WrestleMania both Saturday and Sunday, so we know what match is going to be on what day and stuff like that.
Okay, that makes more sense. So this was last week's episode. I guess while I was talking to Gil, it started playing last week. I was like, wait, I just saw them together. Like, what happened? Like, I was so confused. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So how did they go from one beating the other to then becoming a team? I missed that part.
Well, Lyra actually has looked up to Bailey. They as sort of like a role model, and Bailey kind of has that tagline of the role model, and so that's how they ended up teaming together. Is that Lyra actually met Bailey when she was a young girl looking to get into wrestling, and so that's how that came about.
That's cool. That's crazy to go from like a match against each other to then being, and then tonight there was a good solo match between Bailey and Liv Morgan.
Yes.
And that was kind of fun to sort of see the run up. And I always love it when they have a singles match the week of WrestleMania to just add some spice going into a big matchup like that. And Gunther came out on the mic to start the show, and was kind of bossing around Cole. That was an interesting way to start a show for sure.
Yeah, and then on top of that, he basically he's like he's Walter. I still call him Walter. I don't call him Gunther. He always has this confident, arrogant demeanor about him. But the fact that Jay last week said to his face, "I'm not afraid of you," is got him a little bit flustered. And so I think that that's something to keep an eye on when you talk about the match between these two coming up at WrestleMania, and that's going to be on WrestleMania Saturday. That's going to be on night one. Is that matchup? It's not going to be the main event, but it's going to be those two going at on Saturday. And I think that the way that this has been built out has been absolutely fantastic, and I'm looking forward to the matchup. I won't be mad regardless of the result, whether Walter retains or whether Jay finally gets a chance to be a world champion. I won't be mad at the result either way because of the fact that this has been built so well and has played out so good. I think that though the internet might explode if Jay ends up winning the title, which I don't understand because everybody loved Jay when he finally broke away from the bloodline. And now all of a sudden he wins the Royal Rumble and suddenly he's public enemy number one. And I just don't understand it. Like, I don't get it. How did he go from one of the most lovable and popular guys on the roster to now everybody's not wanting to see him win? I don't get it.
Yeah. Sorry, Davey's going to be joining us in a little bit, so that's fine. We'll have time to talk about the UFL and talk about wrestling and a few other things, and then we'll bring in Davey for our final segment. So we'll swap things around. Usually wrestling is our last segment, but I'm loving this lead up. I'm excited for WrestleMania. Oh no, Taco Bell like symptoms. Uh-oh. that That's always a difficult situation.
Davey got the bubble guts.
So we've all
have
been.
plenty of CP there, son.
Hopefully you feel better, Davey, and we'll have you on in a little bit. But just keep us posted, I guess. But Champ, I think that they're building this so smartly that I've never seen so much lead up for like the opening of a WrestleMania. You know, like this is going to be like the very beginning of the show, right? Isn't that what it's scheduled to be?
So since 2020, when the pandemic hit, WrestleMania has been a 2-night thing because after WrestleMania 35 in 2019, where it was like a 4-hour WrestleMania and everybody was like just wiped out, they've spread it out to two nights. And historically, since they've gone to a 2-night format, one night usually outshines the other. But I feel like the way that this WrestleMania has been built up, I feel like both nights could equally be as good, if not better, than previous because of the matches, the storylines that you have for the matches, like CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns main eventing night one. That match and the story behind that match has been building and building and building over the weeks. And then tonight, you haven't seen it yet because it's in the main event segment, but tonight it really hits it might have hit a crescendo tonight, but they still have Friday Night SmackDown to really put a bow on the final build before they get to WrestleMania. So
SmackDown's going to be in Vegas this week. That's
yes,
yeah.
Yes, SmackDown's going to be in Vegas. SmackDown's going to be at the T-Mobile Arena
Nice.
On Friday. It's going to be really busy. This is the one great thing about wrestling, especially WrestleMania week, is that it's not just WWE that people can go see, especially hardcore wrestling fans. You're going to have other things going on around WrestleMania, other wrestling events going on. I think TNA is in town because they have a pay-per-view going on Thursday night. GCW, you have a few indie shows going on, like Bloodsport. A couple of WWE wrestlers are going to be a part of Bloodsport, which is Josh Barnett's little promotion that he does. You're going to have, like I said, a lot of indie shows. And then, of course, you're going to have the WWE shows, which are the main attraction.
And they're doing other stuff that week too, right? Don't they have like a bunch of other stuff, like an Undertaker show?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the Undertaker's One Dead Man show, which he does usually for a lot of these major events, these major pay-per-views. He does his One Dead Man show and stuff like that. You have the NXT is gonna have their version of WrestleMania, Stand and Deliver, which is going to be on early as hell for them because it's a 10 a.m. start time there in Vegas, which means, and Sif has made this comment before, the NXT wrestlers are going to have a call time of around 2 a.m. local time.
Wow.
Because they get to the building around 8 hours before start time. So these guys are either
What day is the NXT? What day is the NXT one?
Saturday.
Oh, so it's the same day as WrestleMania, yeah.
Same day as the first night of WrestleMania. So that's how they've been doing it since 2021. Is they do, especially when NXT got back on the road post pandemic, is they do Stand and Deliver like midday and early enough that it ends early enough, and it gives people time to go from that venue to the stadium for WrestleMania, and that's the case here with Stand and Deliver, starting at 10 a.m. there. And I believe WrestleMania starts at 6 p.m. at 4 p.m. local time. So they get done at around 1 o'clock. That's 3 hours for people to get from T-Mobile Arena. And the T-Mobile Arena and Allegiant Stadium are not that far apart from each other. I think it's like a 15-minute drive between the two venues. But they have 3 hours to like kind of like, you know, come down from seeing NXT and get themselves ready to come over to Allegiant Stadium and then watch the first night of WrestleMania. Like for SmackDown is at the T-Mobile Arena. this year they're doing something different with the Hall of Fame. Typically, they have the Hall of Fame immediately after SmackDown in the arena, but this year they're doing SmackDown at a separate venue. And so it's starting at 5. SmackDown will be starting at 5 p.m. Local time and ending at 8 p.m. local time. And then you'll have 2 hours to get done with SmackDown and then get to, I think it's some kind of theater. I can't remember the name of the theater, but they got to go to the separate venue. And then the Hall of Fame is starting at 10 p.m. local time, which is 1 a.m. here on the East Coast. So that's going to be a Hall of Fame that I'm probably going to have to watch when I wake up the next day and watch it, because I may watch it live because I don't go to sleep till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning anyway. So I'll probably be up watching it anyway. But the schedule this year for WrestleMania and all the events is very, very different from previous WrestleMania weeks. And then, of course, outside of the wrestling, you have WWE World, which has all kind of attractions and all kind of other things that you can do and stuff like that. So WrestleMania week is like it's like Christmas for wrestling fans.
So, remind me, are you and Sith doing a watch along for WrestleMania?
Absolutely. We are doing live reactions to Stand and Deliver and both nights of WrestleMania. Now, Stand and Deliver will be just myself and Sith starting at 12:55 p.m. Eastern Time, which will be a mid-morning for those in the Central Time Zone, the Mountain Time Zone in the West Coast. And then for night 1 and 2 of WrestleMania, it'll be myself, Sith, as well as Sage, our New Japan contributor. He will be joining us. It'll be the three of us doing live reactions to both nights of WrestleMania. So it's going to be a really fun weekend. A lot of streams. The streams is gonna start Friday night when we do the season finale of the podcast. It'll be the end of our sixth season of the podcast. We'll be doing a preview of WrestleMania, Stand and Deliver, all of that stuff. And then we'll go into our live reactions to WrestleMania. And then we'll have a week off next week for the podcast to get ready for our 7th season of the podcast, which I cannot wait for. I can't believe we're going to actually hit 7 seasons of this podcast, but here we are.
That's amazing. 7 seasons. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's in 10th season here. We'll have to. I'll talk to Seth. Maybe I can get him on and we can do a WrestleMania recap next week at 10 o'clock, and then we can do the UFL and other stuff after that. It's just such a big thing. I feel like we've been kind of building to WrestleMania the last 2, the end of season 9 and season 10 here. So I feel like we need to do something big to celebrate that for sure. So I'll talk to Sith and see if we can get him on. If not, you and I can always break it down as well. And let me know if you have any other friends that you think would be good to have on that segment too. I don't know any of your other people that you have on your show, if they have availability on Monday, but they're always welcome as well, whether it be Sage or anybody else that wants to talk wrestling with us. So, yeah, it would be a lot of fun.
By the way, if we're going to talk DMV sports, the first thing we should talk about is the fact that the WNBA draft actually occurred tonight.
Ooh.
And the Mystics had the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Before the draft even started, they did make a move and they traded away. They traded away Carly Samuelson to the Minnesota Lynx for a 1st round pick in next year's draft. So there's that. And then they went and they drafted it with the 3rd overall pick. Sonia Citron from the University of Notre Dame, young lady who played guard for Notre Dame, number 11, averaged 14.6 rebounds and 2 assists in her college career, played a full 4 years with Notre Dame. Looked like she has some very solid stats of nearly 47% field goal percentage in her career, 37% from 3, 84% from free from the charity stripe. So she looks like she's a very skilled guard, and I think that's something they're going to need, especially with the announcement about a few weeks ago that Elena Deladon has retired. So that cornerstone of the team is now permanently not coming back, as she has retired from the NBA, I guess, due to injuries and things of that nature. But it looks like they made a really good selection bringing in Citron. So hopefully that'll help this team to hopefully win some games and really be competitive this upcoming season, because last season it was not the best for them as a team. They almost made the playoffs, though. That's something we could talk about. They almost made the playoffs, but it ended up falling by the wayside. So hopefully this can bring about something, a positive move forward for the team. And hopefully this year they will go from almost making the playoffs to actually making the playoffs.
For sure. One thing I do want to mention, just since we're talking about Ted Leonsis own basketball teams, the Wizards won on a buzzer beater their last game of the season to actually make them the second worst team in the NBA this year, giving Utah Jazz that dubious distinction. I'll be interested to see if that helps or hurts their spot. Remember, it's all about ping pong balls, so being the worst team doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to get that first pick. So we'll be monitoring that for sure. And we'll talk a little bit of NBA a little bit later with Davey. I do want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the Defenders. And they had a big time win this week. They played their big rival from the XFL days, the Battlehawks from St. Louis, who have a rabid fan base and one of the biggest box office draws, I would say, in the UFL. And it was a good matchup, back and forth. The Defenders started off really hot. The Battlehawks battled their way back, but some really great plays down the stretch and some long drives and some good defensive plays and some timely touchdowns at the end of the game allowed for the Defenders to pull away, and they were even able to kick a field goal at the very last minute to go over for the over-under for people betting on the over, which has been rare this season to go on the over in the UFL. So, Champ, what are your thoughts? They've now beat the two best teams people thought going into this UFL season and start the season 3-0, even though they've been hemorrhaging coaches all season long.
Yeah, I mean, days earlier, Greg Williams decides he's going to leave to go coach at college. And y'all, you saw the question I asked. I was like, wait, is college paying more than the UFL? Because if it is, then it makes sense for them to all leave to go to coach college, because that's crazy. But once again, offensively, the Defenders were quite inconsistent. Jordan Ta'amu had 3 touchdown passes, but he also had 2 interceptions, and he was 17 of 37. Once again, missing open receivers and not making the right throws, though he did make a beautiful, that rainbow that he threw to Ty Scott on that 62-yard touchdown pass was absolutely beautiful. I was like, that's the type of throw I want to see Jordan Ta'amu be able to make on that one, on a play where the free safety bit on the play action pass, and as soon as he bit on the play action pass, it left Ty Scott on that one-on-one. He hit that post, and Jordan Ta'amu put a pretty pass on him that he was able to catch in stride and get into the end zone for the touchdown. That was a really good play. But once again, it was the defense that held strong. Even with Greg Williams going on, he has his son now as the DC for DC, and they made things tough for that run game of the Battlehawks. The run game for the Battlehawks, 5 men rushed the ball for the Battlehawks, and they only managed 45 yards total as a team. Think about that. 5 guys rushed the ball, including their quarterback, Manny Wilkins, only 45 yards. Manny Wilkins was their leading rusher at 39 yards. Okay. And then they also forced 3 interceptions of Manny Wilkins. He was 16 of 29, 147 yards with a touchdown and 3 INTs. So defensively, these guys were on the ball. Offensively, they still need to get it together. They had 103 yards rushing as a team between 3 guys, with Abram Smith doing the heavy lifting, having 23 carries for 52 yards. Deion Jackson had 8 carries for 54 yards, and Teamo rushed only once, but he lost 3 yards. Otherwise, it would have been 106 yards for them instead of 103. But it's clear that offensively, there's still some work to be done. Fred Cassius is not new. His system is not new. This is his 3rd season as the offensive coordinator for this team. So the system is not anything new, and I don't see that there are any really new players on here. So I don't know where the disconnect is with the system, but clearly their defense is keeping them in games or keeping them ahead in games when the offense is not scoring the way it should be.
Yeah, I was happier with the scoring in this game, but I see what you're saying. So they're playing the Brahmas from San Antonio. That game will be at Audi Field on 420 at 5 p.m. So definitely go check them out. It will be live on Fox as well. So I will. I think I'm going to be at an amusement park on Sunday, but I just like I watched the Ovi thing, I can watch it now on YouTube TV. So I will be watching probably in roller coaster lines. So that'll be a fun thing to do. The San Antonio is, I believe, the worst team in the XFL division. So we'll have to take care of business there, and then they'll play the Renegades the following week in Arlington, and then the Michigan Panthers the week after that. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about how the DC Defenders are shaping up. They're doing some good stuff. I do see that Davey is here, and so we'll be bringing him on. Put in his handle here, but and Davey, you can bring on your camera whenever you want to join us. And let me see if I get that right. There we go. Now your handle is below you. All right, Davey, welcome on in. I have to say congratulations on the amazing success of the Pets of Twitch competition that was been on your channel the last couple of weeks. Incredible showing by all the animals and the competitors and your channel. But how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. It's good to see you. Thank you for weathering the storm there with bearing with me as I weathered the storm. I weathered the storm. I did.
There you go. I'm happy. I'm happy that you were able to be successful in dealing with that. So do I have? Hold on. Let me. The graphic that I want to put up. Sorry. There it is. We'll put up this one. So I want to talk to you about a couple of different things. I'm so thankful that the event went so well. I know that tomorrow on your channel you're going to be doing like a recap of sorts and talking to some of special names from the a couple of weeks, including one of my favorite announcers in That E-Flat Guy,
yeah,
who just did an incredible job with the play-by-play, and just been such an incredible event. Talk to people who don't, maybe if they didn't get a chance to check out the Pets of Twitch, let people know some of your favorite moments and thoughts are of the awesome competition that you were able to hold on your channel.
Absolutely. Are we still on Facebook? We're still on Facebook?
We are still on Facebook.
Hi, Facebook. Hello.
And on YouTube and on Kick. You're
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah. Well, we over on Twitch we're having such a ball just trying to feature people from Twitch who are by the side of the streamers. So it's something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I'm really glad we put that it all came together. I'm just honestly shocked at how excited everybody was for it. Champ, thanks for the raid too during the middle of all that. I mean, you raided into a really exciting moment. I remember it. I think we were in the middle of like a really good match, and I think that's the thing that kind of sticks out with me, like how close the matches were, how they came down to the end, and like you said with Ryan, like Ryan is just so good at that, good at like play by play. Like it was really fun. Remember? Do you remember what? Did you catch what Ryan said about that at one point? I'm not sure where he said this, but he was, or maybe he just said it to me in DMs. It was like, it's just me like channeling my years of wanting to be a sportscaster when I was in college, and I'm like, yeah, me too, man. Like this is us getting to finally like do our finally like invest in our passion for sports in a different form. And what was really surprising to me is I think my favorite thing is just that everybody got excited about it. They're like, so this is what sports is like. Like this is how exciting it is. And it's like, yes, this is why we like sports, because like we get in, it gets thrilling like this sometimes, you know? Like we saw it in golf and Champ, I'm sure you'd appreciate this, but that back and forth between Rory and Rosie, like at the end of the Masters final round, was unbelievable. So we had like stuff like that in the pits of Twitch too, like just back and forth. It was like
I love that I got to call a buzzer beater with you, and
Yeah.
in Colorado, just randomly calling in from a mountain home, right? Like it was just there's so many cool moments throughout the competition. I didn't really think Neville and Lily could even beat a vacuum. And it just like crazy dynamics that happened. Lots of people on Instagram voting. I was just so impressed. I didn't know Instagram polls could have hundreds of votes.
I agree. I'm shocked. I was expecting like 30, and it was like 100 to 100. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Totally wasn't prepared for that.
It was so crazy that one of them was like 93, and then it went to Twitch vote, and then that was almost tied too. And it just like the final was 100 votes exactly on Twitch, which 100 votes on Twitch without additional like ways to buffer it up is a lot. And then it ended up being 51-49, about as close as you could get in the very final moments. And a puppy won, no cats. Poor Neville. I know that he was rooting for the cat side of it, but Lily is very excited that the dogs won their day. And just an incredible showing by so many people, and just I love the one of the things I love about your channel, Davey, is the amount of different communities that get to come together and get to celebrate something. And a lot of these people probably have never. You know, a lot of us all see each other in Twitch communities or whatever, but we never had like this friendly like battle, but it's not a big deal. And like so many of the people that I was competing against now want to do collabs with me. And, you know, it becomes this really great unifying thing. I don't, pets are cool that way. I think the only person who I think took it badly was my son, but everybody else did a great job of taking it in stride.
And I took it bad too. I wanted them to win too. God damn it!
That's fair. That's fair.
I almost pulled an orange felon move and be like, "No, the election's rigged."
It was a very cute bunny that won.
I'm about to be like, "Nah, they stole the election. That bunny stole it."
I love that.
Storm Davies' house to fix the election.
And I love that she live streamed her reaction to the whole thing. You know, so she deserved to win it. I mean, she put a lot of effort into, you know, getting the vote, and her channel is actually about bunnies versus my channel is not about Neville and Lily. But just a great showing and just a great event. Both the side NIT almost version that I was, you know, part of, and the main bracket. Just so fun to see all these different communities come together, and so many people want to live stream their reactions to this. I mean, that
surprised you too? It surprised me a lot. Like I'm like, they were like, we interrupt our stream to go to Davey's channel and watch. It was like, wow. Like I felt important in that moment. I was just like, wow, y'all just.
And Scott's community wanting to rally behind my guys because he really wanted us to beat a vacuum. He felt very strongly about that. And so like
that entire, you know, I tell you what, you know, that entire exotic. So just for those of you on Facebook and everywhere else, like that didn't see it. I had two tournaments. We had two tournaments for the Pets of Twitch. I had the regular Pets division, which was like the domestic division. To be honest with you, that's probably where Lily and Neville were supposed to be, but I couldn't figure it out. I was still trying to figure out exactly how to organize everything. So we put them in the exotic division. I'm like, well, this will be like the fun, like the silly division. And then we decided to just get more and more unhinged. We added like a vacuum cleaner. We added cartoon characters. We added a plant, literally a plant. Somebody, I don't even know if it was an actual plant. I understand it could have even have been a fake plant. Could have been like a plastic plant.
I love it.
So
I think it's great. People are like, "Are you offended that your animals are getting compared to a vacuum?" I'm like, no, it's all in good fun, and I love being a part of the community bracket. But I just love that 48 different communities want to be a part of this badly. I mean, that's so many communities when you think about it.
It's crazy, right? Like, it's just, I really thought, Robbie, legitimately, I thought it was just going to be like us, like, the three of us and maybe some other people from the sandwicher community, and maybe a couple of people might chip in. I didn't think the whole communities would be jumping into the chat like they did, coming in and out and like cheering and getting outraged and even like calling for recount. I mean, like you said, I think there was a call for a recount. Somebody said stop the count at one point.
Pretty great.
Stop the count. Stop it.
It was so wild. And so, but people should definitely tune in tomorrow because I'm sure Dave will go into it. The amount of effort that, Davey, you put into this thing, like,
Thank you.
It's astounding. Like, I have run tournaments in different sports before, but this is a bigger field than anyone that I've ever done in any sport. And, kudos to you for, being, having to create the brackets, create all the visuals, run the show, host it. And I'm so happy you got some additional help from the announcing side to give you a little support there. And I know there's so many other people that want to be a part of it next year. I would love to continue to be a part of it. I know Smarticus wants to be a part of it. And so it's just so cool that you could, like, it could be so big you could have teams of announcers. Like, that's wild to me.
That is actually true. You probably could, like, to announce like the first like the morning matchups. You could have like different people doing that, and like Ryan and I will come in for the primetime stuff. Just to think that could happen, and I think you're right. I think we're pretty close to that. Like,
yeah.
And then, by the way, I think there's a lot of strong support going from 32 teams to 64 in the big tournament, and then I think the other one would probably keep it. I'll probably keep that at 16, but
right.
But we'll get more unhinged with the choices. Like, we'll probably have like
I think it should be like more unhinged, and then like the 64 are actually all pets. I think that makes more sense. And
I do think so too.
And we still have to figure out whether, because I went so far back and forth on that Instagram voting. At first, I was like, nah, I think it weighs too much on Instagram. And then it helped me a lot. And then I really started to like it. And then, and I was able to see the value in it. But I also, it's the pets of Twitch. Should it have such, high value to it? I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
I keep going back and forth on it. I honestly...
I give you my take on it. Because I've thought about this a lot. Because I know there was a lot of outrage about some of those Instagram votes, how it resulted in some people just having a 50 vote lead. Yeah. Imagine like you start a basketball game and you're up by 50 points. Like, that sucks. Like that's no good. So I didn't really like that so much. But so I think, but like you said, it's good. It was good too because it gave people an opportunity, that people who don't have the biggest community, a chance to kind of stay in the fight, which was really great. We had some big upsets as a result. But I think what we'll do next year is we're going to make the Instagram vote happen still. It'll still be a big part of it. Because honestly, think about how much juice that generated. Like, some people were getting fired up about it. People were excited. People were like, what's the vote total? They were really excited. They were like reels. Like, people were on the story.
Refreshing it, trying to go into other people's accounts to see what the vote's at. Because like, when you vote, it sticks it at wherever you voted at. So I can't even see a new counter.
You don't know what the numbers are, right? So so two things I think we're going to do. One, Instagram vote will be around. Twitch vote will be around. If you can win both of those rounds, you advance. If you don't, then we just go to tiebreaker. I think that's the way you do it, because then it's less confusing for stream. So people who are watching on the stream, when they see the votes on the Twitch poll, those are definitive numbers. Like, if you win that, you win. You win that round. So
I kind of feel bad at one point that in the finals, somebody won a Twitch vote, but that wasn't enough of a win to over.
Correct.
Right.
So I'm definitely trying to kind of eliminate that scenario.
Yeah.
So like, at least that if you win the Twitch vote, it means something. It may not be I mean, that's exactly what you said. Like, So when that's actually good. That's actually a good point because when you win the Twitch vote and you're behind, then you've at least caused something to happen. So you'll force it over. But if you just win a Twitch vote and it means nothing, that's not as good. So one thing I wanted to add to that is that I think there's a really strong possibility I'll be doing like Instagram tracker streams, kind of like an election like TV show. Like you're just like you're gonna put the scores on the screen. We'll just talk about how it's going and have analysts and whatever. And like we might do that next year. So stay tuned for that.
Your channel's gonna become the ESPN of pets.
It really is. It's been crazy. Like, so I just want to thank all of you for doing it. And those of you who didn't see it, like, you can check out the VODs. They're still on my channel, like twitch.tv/DaviesEatingSandwich. And you actually will find them on YouTube too. So if you're on YouTube, you can go to the Sandwich YouTube, same handle, and look for the replays of all those events. It was pretty wild. Like, we had a halftime show, which was planned from the jump.
Good.
We had Super Bowl commercials for it, which was not really part of the plan, but then I just decided to add it later. And they were awesome. Like, they were really funny.
Good.
So,
I'm trying to convince, I don't know if he's going to do it, but I'm trying to convince the taco commercial for LG for it to be like a redeemable, that you could redeem a commercial and it will pop up. Because I think that would be great on his channel, for sure.
let me see. Now, I guess maybe I should take a moment since I have some instant feedback from either of you. Like, what are things you would love to see in next year's Pets of Twitch tournament? Like, are there any particular features that you might be interested in, like, adding to the coverage or adding to the contest?
I definitely like the ads. I thought that was a really cool
more ads? Okay.
So I think that definitely having a couple of those. And I don't know. I think it went so well. It's hard for me to, like, the only thought I had was I do like the one-to-one vote. I was also thinking there could be a scenario where you could have like a Pets of Instagram be a separate thing, where it's almost like just Instagram people voting and see what happens in that. If you had the same starting 64 and one was voted on Instagram and one was on Twitch as separate entities, just to see where it would go through that process. And you could still talk about what's happening on the Instagram vote on your show.
I think it would need to be another thing, right? Like
another thing, yeah. Maybe that's true. I just think that the pets were so good. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Now I'm thinking I need to have like a YouTube channel for my pets and Instagram too. So like,
well, I think if people did actually start doing that, like I think we're starting to see some. First we saw like the people who already had their pet accounts, right? Like kind of represent those. But then I started noticing like new ones, and I'm like, wow, like people are like, I've like become I think we've really struck a chord with some folks. Like, it's kind of neat.
I agree. I have an old account that was called the Neville and Luna Adventures back when I had 2 cats, right? And so I'm thinking about rebranding it the Neville and Friends channel, and then that way it could have the old ones, and then obviously Lily now. So. So I am considering that as a possibility for sure.
I love it a lot. It was finally the bridge. I was looking forward to channel like all the ethos of like my sports fanaticism, but do it in a way that a lot of other people could connect to. Because like I think this is true because when you do your show, you feel the same thing. And whenever I get into sports on the Sandwich Show, it's literally the same situation. It's like 9 out of 10 people in the chat are probably not going to know what you're talking about or not going to care. And that's understandable. Like it's sports, as much as we love it, as popular as it can be, as much money as it makes, it's honestly still niche for the majority.
Green Guy Music is so spot on with his comment, which is go sports. And that's in a nutshell how most music Twitch feels about sports.
Pretty much, right? Yeah. So this actually made it more relatable. I think there's an element to Pets of Twitch that reminds me of the Olympics because you're following the stories of all these beautiful, beautiful fur babies, and you're seeing their journey, seeing how they met their parents, and then seeing them in the big show, and then you have 5 minutes to decide your fate. And I think that's really cool to see the drama that goes behind that. That reminds me a whole lot about the Olympics,
Okay, so that's an idea I have. I mean, this might be wild and hard to do, but maybe not. I use trigger fire on my channel, and so you can like make certain things appear and disappear, right? could be fun if you could have things where people can trigger different graphics to appear and pet pictures during the voting, or something fun that's interactive, that's beyond just the voting, to show hype, to try to support your your pet or something. So there is something interactive that maybe we could add, and I could help you program or something. It could be kind of
Yeah, I would be interested to see how that works, and then I can make a decision as to whether to pursue it. It'd be
But
interesting
yeah,
to see that though.
because there's like with Trigger Fire, you can make certain gifts or certain characters and certain stuff pop up. So it'd be interesting, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be like dependent on that, but it could be just like hype, or how, like you see it with I've helped people.
How do you? So here's a question.
Yeah.
How would you control when you turn it on and when you turn it off, though?
So it'd be a scene dependent.
Oh, it'd be on a
You
scene.
go into like a certain scene, the trigger fire could only be on that scene, for example. And then you could also have point redeems that you could have very low value, like 1 or 2 points or whatever, and it could trigger them, or you could do it command based as well. So so it's just an idea that just I've always loved the interactivity that you see on certain channels. I've helped Scribe add it to his channel. I've worked with Scott on that sort of stuff. I've also I know that Kenny does a lot of that work as well. And I think for these big moments, it could be kind of cool to have some hype that is generated by the fans on screen to go with the voting that they're already doing. I don't know, just a thought that we could,
Not bad. Yeah. So now the next question for all of you watching, all of you in the chat, and all of you on the call, there's been so much excitement for the next contest. People are really excited about it. They're like, Davey, when's the next contest? We're excited for the next thing. And I'm like, you're right, and I am too. Well, guess what? We're gonna announce one tomorrow. So Ryan's actually gonna interview me tomorrow. So this is actually another reason to tune in. Like, you'll see what it's like when the tables are turned. Ryan will be the one doing the interview tomorrow, so I'm actually pretty excited about that.
I'm excited about that. I didn't know that was the structure. Yeah. And I love how it's kind of like Beetlejuice, but you mentioned Scribe and he appears, right?
Hey, that's and Green Guy too. Good to see you.
Exactly.
Flip the script. Yeah. It's I love when we get to do that sort of thing. Like, we get to do role reversals on this. Like, if I ever get to a point where I get to host Robbie's show, that'd be hilarious. Like, I would just bring in, hey, hockey people, let's go talk about let's talk about the playoffs, and then we bring in the Defender talk and get into the Wizards. Oh, the Wizards sucked again. That's too bad. All right, well, I guess we'll move on to the next topic.
It's actually a good segue, though. You got to be excited as a Lakers fan. What a wild run of a season in the NBA, and just a crazy NBA last week. And all of that, because we've had jumbled up at the top last year, but this middle was super jumbled in how close it was for all these teams. What were your thoughts on the this NBA season going into the postseason here?
Well, I just wanted to wrap up the point I was making earlier.
Oh, sorry.
Also in the show tomorrow, we're going to reveal our next contest. So if you catch the Twitch, 9:00 during this will be during the stream. So in the middle of the stream around 9:00, we're going to reveal our next tournament. And I won't say what it is. It's not going to be pets, obviously, but it'll be just as captivating, I think, and I think you're all going to get into it. So I'm very excited. We'll bring you all the hoopla and everything about it. So check it out on the Sandwich Show tomorrow. Same handle as I mentioned, Davey's Eating Sandwich. You're gonna love it.
I'm excited. Here, we'll do the Davey command. And I just want to say, I'm super excited that everyone's now joining chat all of a sudden, because everyone's just so excited about this. We got Tina joining. Yeah. And then I like Green Guy's comment here. The sandwich will start eating Davey one day. So that's
inevitably.
So I'm
April Fool's Day.
Bold Contrast, welcome on in as well. So thank you guys all for being here. But yes, no, I'm very excited for tomorrow's show, and Ryan will be a great interviewer. So it'll be cool to see him. You have some other guests as well, right? I think the vacuum. The owner of the vacuum.
Vacuum mother, the vacuum mommy will be on. Yes, Chalky Trina Tunes will join us.
Right.
Joyce Lee music. Which, by the way, we have some unfinished business with Joyce. Unfortunately, we did not get to play Joyce's hype video for Bean, so we will have that tomorrow as well. So
Okay.
some exclusive footage actually. We'll have some additional stuff you did not see during the tournament. We'll add that to the special tomorrow. I do need to answer your question about the NBA though. I'm sorry I didn't.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. What can you say? Like the trade for Luka made all the difference for the Lakers, right? Like they got a whole new swagger when they made the trade, and it's like, did anybody miss Anthony Davis right now? No. Like he got hurt again. Like what else is new? Like so it's a very interesting matchup. Like them and the Wolves, and I mean honestly, it probably could go either way. I don't really think there's necessarily a clear-cut favorite. I think people will probably say the Lakers are, but I do think the Wolves are pretty good. And I think OKC is probably going to be the best team in the West. So it's a very, very loaded West. Like it's gonna be a good playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. So right now, there's going to be a play-in. So Dallas is playing Sacramento in the 9-10 play-in, and Dallas, man, what a free fall of a season! And just, I mean,
you said right, like because what were they thinking, like doing that trade? Like
Bayern Nico chance just while he's sitting there, it's just brutal to watch, and watching Luka tear up, watching the tribute video, and then just him just destroying them afterwards. I don't know, oof. So that they're playing Sacramento, and that the winner of that will stay alive and play the loser of the Golden State Memphis game. The winner of that will get the 7 seed. Then the loser of the Golden State Memphis and the winner of the Sacramento Dallas ones will play for who will become the 8 seed. And that's how the structure of it works. And then Oklahoma City will play that 8 seed. Houston will play the 7 seed. Lakers play Minnesota, and Denver play the Clippers, who are the exact same record. Lakers, Denver, and Clippers all had 50 wins and 32 losses. So
Robbie, are you surprised with the Nuggets in this scenario that they fired the coach and the GM? I think.
Yeah.
You're surprised? Yeah, I'm a little surprised, but I have to admit, like, there did seem to be some things behind the scenes. I don't think they really like the philosophy, and I understand the coach and the GM were clashing heads a lot, so they're like, let's just take you both out. And so
that's wild. I thought they would pick one. I didn't expect them to be like both gone.
Yeah. It's weird that that they basically are in the playoffs. I mean, it's a plan, but still, it's kind of funny. Like they won the title 2 years ago. Yeah, I don't know. It's I get it. I mean, you have these personality clashes when you talk about high-profile guys, particularly at coach and executives, right? So like, it's interesting. And they were in the middle of an 8-game winning streak when they fired him. That's what I saw. Like wow. Of all the timing of it is just so unusual.
Yeah, I don't understand why you would fire any coach going into the playoffs. I never understood that. But I mean, it's very strange to me. I'll be totally honest. Like I've never seen anything like that, in my opinion. I can't even remember the last time an NBA team made the playoffs and they still fired their coach before the playoffs. Like at least let him play it out to see what he was going to do. I don't know, but yeah, it's going to be a wild time in the West. And the way the Eastern Conference is shaking out, Miami will play Chicago in that playing game, and Miami is very beatable since the Wizards won on a stupid buzzer beater. What are your thoughts on that, Davey? Why win that game?
Yeah, that's it's hard to that's hard to digest, isn't it? It's hard to digest that. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't even do that right. Like, what is this?
Don't know. I just and I get that it's ping pong balls and maybe it won't matter, but like, you had one goal all season and then you just divert. It's like you took like a right turn at the very last second. Like, no, we're not the worst. Like,
how are they even in the game? Who are they playing?
It was Miami.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Well, yeah, Miami's having their own problems though, like the whole Jimmy Butler boo.
Yeah, I mean that's got to give you no confidence going into this. Like, lose one game and you're done.
They did trade him to Golden State though, right? Didn't they?
Yeah, but still, like, I don't know. they'll play Chicago in that first play-in. Orlando plays Atlanta in the other one.
Yeah.
The winner of the Orlando-Atlanta gets the 7. Then the loser of that one will play the winner of the Chicago-Miami game, and that will become the 8 seed. Cleveland was the number 1 seed in the East, followed by Boston, New York, Indiana, Milwaukee, and then Detroit. So New York will play Indiana in the first round. No, I'm sorry. New York will play Detroit in the first round. Indiana plays Milwaukee. Boston plays whoever the 7 is, and Cleveland will play whoever the 8 is.
I think it's Boston's conference to lose. They're the defending champs, but beyond that, it's a pretty deep team.
So you don't believe in Cleveland? Cleveland's been good all season, but
I mean they've been good. I'm sure they've been good, but it's also a relatively unattested team compared to the Celtics, right? Like they've got some really good players. No, I mean, listen, if I found out that the Cleveland Cavaliers were going to win and have a big upset, on their way to the Eastern Conference Championship, I wouldn't be that surprised. Like you said, sometimes teams are hungrier, but you still kind of have to give not the edge to the team that's a little bit more experienced, and I think Boston's a little better in that area right now. And I think, but certainly I wouldn't rule out the Cavs in that scenario.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the New York Knicks can win a couple of rounds. It's been a while, right? So it's just
yeah. I mean, it's always been. I was actually surprised they didn't go farther last year because it seemed like a
they were
really good
supposed
team.
to. That's what I'm saying. It's like
it's a great heart, like great team. I mean, Brunson can sometimes really light it up. It was really surprising, honestly. I thought they had one more round in them.
I was pulling for them hardcore last year, and it fell apart.
Fun team to watch.
Yeah. That'll be an interesting team in the playoffs for sure. Against an up-and-coming Detroit team, who's another young team that people didn't really expect going very far. I would say that they are the most improved team in the NBA this year. So
they've got trying McCade Cunningham. So that's I mean, I knew they had a chance to be good because I remember him in college. Like he's pretty good.
I know, but they were like the worst team last year. I mean, that's
no doubt.
Get all that.
It speaks to the coaching, right? Like they really changed things up in the big way. I think they play a lot faster than they used to. So like it's an interesting one, right?
For sure. Well, I'll let you and Champ talk for just a moment about the Masters. I'm going to refill my glass, but I'll let you guys have a golf conversation. I know that, Davey, you've always wanted to host Sports on the Hill podcast, so this is the opportunity to talk a little golf.
I'll take it. I mean, Champ, like we were talking about it in the group chat. Like it was just a remarkable final round of the Masters. Like speak about the history involved in the years of frustration finally letting out. And after Rory finally won in the playoff, like tell me about what you were feeling during the entirety of that afternoon.
It was crazy to watch. I mean, Rory started off his round. He came into the round at 12 under and in pretty good control of the tournament, but he double bogeys the first hole, and you're thinking, oh no, not again. But then after a par on the par 5 fifth, par 5 second, he gets back-to-back birdies. Then he pars his way to the 9th and then makes birdie on the 9th and then makes birdie on the 10th. You're thinking, okay, he's starting to get it together. Then he bogeys. Then he hits Amen Corner and he plays Amen Corner at 3 over. He bogeys the 11th. He pars the 12th when he aims for the middle of the green and goes over, gets up and down, makes par, and then plays the 13th hole way too conservatively. That's the situation right there. Like, I get it. He doesn't trust his driver because he's been leaking him out to the right on a lot of his drives with the driver. So I get you don't want to go right on this hole and end up in the pine straw and then trying to navigate and get up and try to get in birdie range from the pine straw on that hole. But I think that if you trust your nice right to left draw, you hit the right to left draw with the driver, hit your second shot. If you don't feel comfortable trying to take on the creek, lay it up. But here he hits 3 wood off the tee, lays it up to 86 yards. So you're thinking, okay, you've been a pro for a number of years. You should be able to hit a wedge under 100 yards to a good distance. He shanks his wedge into the creek and has to get up and down and make double bogey. And then he bogeys the next hole. And you're thinking, yeah, oh no, not again. But then birdie on 15, in which he hits a magnificent second shot into that 15th hole, hits the green in 2, on a magnificent shots, 2 putts for birdie, makes par on the 16th, where Justin Rose made birdie a few minutes prior. Then he makes birdie on the 17th, and you're thinking, okay, he should be fine. All he has to do is hit the fairway on 18, hit the green, 2 putt, he's home, he's got the green jacket. He does the first part right. He hits the fairway, boom, he's good. But then he absolutely hits a poor shot, second shot, ends up in the bunker on the right side of the green to a left pin location. He hits a pretty decent bunker shot and has a really makeable par putt, and then he misses the par putt and forces a playoff, which is only the 11th time in Masters history that the tournament went to a sudden death playoff.
Wow.
And Justin Rose went out and shot an amazing round, 6 under. He did make 4 bogeys on the round, so you take away those bogeys, we're talking about him wearing the green jacket and not Rory, but he still had a really good round with 10 birdies on his card, including playing Amen Corner at 3 under, birdieing the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th before he bogeyed the 14th. He only made 1 par on the back 9. That was on the 10th. He made all birdies and bogeys. He birdied the 15th, birdied the 16th on a good tee shot on there, bogeyed the 17th, then made birdie on the 18th. But I think what everybody's gonna be talking about is the playoff where Rory hit, like, Justin Rose hit a really good shot. I think it was like 10, 12 feet away. But then Rory steps up there and just hits an absolute magnificent shot. I was on stream yelling, "Somebody's closer!"
Yeah,
and
let's go.
Man, he hit a magnificent shot. Justin Rose misses his birdie putt, and then Rory nails the birdie putt, and you can just tell all the times he tried to get that career grand slam and couldn't do it, just all came out once that putt dropped. He finally becomes only the 6th golfer in history to complete the career grand slam. Only 5 other golfers have done that, including Jack Nicklaus, Ben Hogan. He's now amongst the greats as someone who has completed the career grand slam. And it took him so many tries to do it. I think it was his 13th attempt at the career grand slam, and he finally was able to do it. Though it didn't come easy for him at all. It didn't come easy for him, but he was able to finally do it. And the funny thing is that Justin Rose shot 66, 6 under, and Rory shot 1 over 73 and still managed to win in the playoff. And then playing with Rory McIlroy was Bryson DeChambeau, who just absolutely collapsed in that final round of 3 over 75 to finish at 7 under and finish T5. Rose tied for the best round with Matsuyama, who also shot a 6 under 66 on the day to finish T21 at 2 under. And he struggled this week. He only had one other round sub 70. He had a 68 in the second round, but he had a 73 in his opening round, 1 over, and then he had a 7 over 79 on moving day set on round 3 on Saturday, but he managed to get back and finish at under par with a 66 on the final day. But a really, really solid, really good tournament. I always enjoy watching the Masters and watching Augusta National. I was excited when I bought PGA Tour from EA Sports and they had Augusta National. It's always fun to play Augusta National, except when the wind is like really high, then it's like not so much fun. But the course conditions were really good, and you got to see a lot of low numbers, at least early on. And then as you got into the weekend, then you started to see the cream start rising to the top. Rory did shoot a 66 on the third round to get him into the lead. Rose actually shot 3 over, and so he wasn't even in the conversation, even though he started the week in the lead at 7 under and whatnot. But just incredible week of golf.
It really was. It really was. And like you said with Rose, like he had such a big lead after the first round. You thought, oh no, it's gonna be another one of those tournaments. But I'm glad that it turned around from that point. and it got really close. And to your other point, like we really did think this was going to be a showdown, like a tit for tat match between McElroy and DeChambeau. We thought there was going to be a big old rivalry spilling out here, but DeChambeau really fell apart. It kind of started with that water shot, and I think it was on the front nine somewhere, and he did it again, and it was just like, damn, never was in it really. After like maybe about the sixth hole, right?
Yeah, so Bryson DeChambeau, he started his front nine. He went out in 37, one over because he birdied the second, but then he had back-to-back bogeys on 3 and 4, and then he really fell apart on the back nine. He double bogeyed the 11th, bogeyed the 12th, and then he made par on the 13th. So Amen Corner, he played that 3 over. He made birdie on 14 and 16, but then bogeyed the 17th. So he was never really in it. Playing in that final pairing with Rory, but it was insane. And then Ludwig Eiberg was actually kind of lighting it up a little bit too, but then he kind of fell off on the back nine as well. He went out in 34. He went 200. He made 2 birdies on the front nine at 1 and 6, and then he made birdie on 10. So he looked like he had some momentum going into Amen Corner, but he played Amen Corner and even par on the 11th, bogey on the 12th, and then a birdie on 13. But he finished off poorly. He bogeyed the 17th, and then he made triple a 7 on the last to finish at 6 under and finish at 7th by himself. So he was kind of lighting it up out there as well, but ended up finishing even par for the round. So he was kind of in the mix as well, but then those last 2 holes kind of killed him as well.
Yeah, I don't remember if he had played the Masters the year before, but he's still relatively new to the game, so I feel like this experience will be good for him long term. We'll be hearing from him again for sure. Like I'm almost 100% sure that he'll be in the mix again.
He'll be back next year because the top 12 and ties are invited back to the Masters, so he'll be back next year, and he if he gets more experience and he'll be able to learn about the nuances and the bounces of those, and especially like Amen Corner, which is an iconic stretch of holes in golf when you have that mixture of a long par 4, a very tricky par 3, and then that very unique par 5, which plays downhill all the way to the hole with water fronting it as well as on the sides. It's like really a unique hole, a really unique stretch of holes. So I think he'll be fine. So if this, he'll learn from this experience, and he'll be able to come back and maybe be in contention again. Again, a top 10 finish in a major like this is nothing to slouch at all. And you get good money out of it. He earned $703,500 with that 7th place finish. So get a nice little chunk of change there. And his caddy gets 70,000 from that. So I mean, that's a nice little chunk of change there for both of them for finishing top 10 in the Masters. So good on him.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for your thoughts on that. I mean, it was really this was just so thrilling to watch and follow, and it really did seem like it got better with each day. And then within each day, it got better with each hour, and much the same on Sunday. So I feel really blessed to have been a part of it. I really think that the final round from this year's Masters will hold up as the best final round in a Masters of the entire decade. Like, I can't imagine how you're going to beat that. I mean, it's just really good.
I can't wait for the PGA.
Yeah, same. Like, it's going to be a really great field when we get to the PGA.
Yeah, it was really cool. I don't usually follow, but you guys were talking about it, so I was able to put it up. So we were watching that and the hockey, and my kids were playing Mario Party on the third screen. So it was a fun little get together. Tim was actually over watching it live with me, so it was fun to watch that. I was actually eating a sandwich from the place I got a sandwich at the very first sandwich show I was on.
Oh, the French Toast or the other one?
This one, I did it was from Full On, which is the same place where I got the crab cake grilled cheese from that first time. But I did the portobello mushroom crazy sandwich, which is a really top notch, one of my favorite sandwiches that they do there for sure. So
sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's very good stuff there. Thank you guys for breaking down the Masters, though. It's cool to hear Champ talk a little bit of golf. I know how much he loves golf, and sometimes he'll even stream playing PGA Tour on his channel. So every once in a while he'll do that. And definitely check out Champ's TikTok. He does a lot of cool highlight videos from his PGA playing days. And on there. So yes, definitely check out the True No Spots Pod on TikTok for some cool golf videos he's been working on. So um, yeah, it's fun because I've never been like super into golf, but my grandparents were diehard golfers. Played on Long Island for years, and pretty good at it. Played for country clubs and at country clubs and stuff like that. And so golf has always been big in my family. So it's kind of it reminds me of them when I get to watch that. So I love that for sure. All right. We are getting time where we're going to start to wrap it up pretty soon, but I'll let it open up for any final topics that you guys want to talk about. So I'll start with you, Davey. Any other sports topics that were on your mind that you wanted to talk about tonight?
Well, you know what? I think I haven't checked this to see where this LA Kings game tonight's being played, but I think they have one more home game.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I know, and I'm gonna check the standings right now because I want to confirm this because it's really amazing to see something like this. But the Kings have had one of the best seasons at home I've ever seen in my life. They are about to okay, I think they finally lost like two other games. Okay, there you go. But I was gonna say, assuming they win their final home game against Calgary, which is a significant game by the way, because Calgary needs the win to get into playoffs. I believe that's right.
They do.
So they're gonna need that game, and we'll see if the Kings are gonna like play anybody, or they're gonna go all out in this game, or they're gonna let Calgary just kind of hang around. Will they rest people? I don't know. That's why we watch, but we'll see. But even if it's like 6 games, like to go 31-6-4, and again, I don't know where they're playing tonight. I think they're in Edmonton, but like 31-6-4 makes how many? 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm not exactly sure how many that is, but anyway, assuming they only win up
Right now at Edmonton, they're winning 5-0.
Yeah, they're balling right now. Like they're up 4-0 after 2. Like it's been a night for those
They'll
guys.
play at Seattle tomorrow, so you have a back-to-back, and then you play Calgary in LA for that last game Thursday at 9:30.
I don't really know what they necessarily have on the line. I mean, I think the win over Edmonton's significant because they were only up 2 points on them in the standings. So I think by winning, that could cement them as the 2 in the Pacific Division, which will be helpful in their playoff bid. But nobody in this
Edmonton will have one remaining game on Wednesday against San Jose, so that'll be a win for them. So imagine that. So that way, and they're going to lose this one. So that would be, yeah. So basically, if you guys, all you'd have to do is get a point in the last 2 games to take.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty. And then Seattle hasn't had that great a year either. So like it's going to be that's a very winnable game too. Anyway, the point of all that was just to say that the Kings are having definitely the best home season I've seen in a really long time. Whether that amounts to anything in the playoffs, I don't know. Because like you notice, usually the trend swings to the road team. That's not even the point. The point I'm going to make is this is a historically good home season, and I happen to be at one of the losses, one of only 6 losses all season long at home, and it was a game where there was no goals through 2 periods, and somewhere in the 3rd period, the Buffalo Sabres finally scored, and they won in a very, very ugly game. But to think that ugly game was the exception rather than the norm really speaks to how much this team has grown within the year, how this young core has come together, and how the coaching has been pretty good. I have admittedly not seen a whole lot of the Kings this year, but they look like a very tough team. And as I said, I did go to a couple other home games after the fact, and they've looked really good in those 2 home games. So like this is a very, very tough out for anybody. I would take my chances with the Kings against any team in the NHL right now, except for a couple. Maybe Dallas, because Dallas has kind of always had their number anyway. But and then that's probably it. No, I'm kidding. Florida would be tough because they're the defending champs, and maybe Tampa Bay. But honestly, I still think they could have a chance with any of those series. Like, I think they definitely can hang. Their goal differential is honestly pretty good.
Yeah,
they're not the flashiest team, but I think it's a team that can do pretty well. And having that home ice advantage is going to help them for sure because they weren't so great on the road. So.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was looking at some stats here because there was a big trade in the offseason that really helped both teams. And sometimes that happens where Pierre-Luc Dubois was traded to the Capitals. You know, he was a center that just wasn't finding his place with the Kings. And he's been playing awesome. We were just talking about how he was one of the best players for the Capitals a couple of games ago, and he has just been an incredible center for us all season. 20 goals, 44 assists for 64 points, and a plus 26 from the left wing. He just really playing some great hockey, and he was struggling so much for the Kings. And then on the opposite side of that, you got Darcy Kemper, right, who everybody wanted to run out of town here. Everyone's like, why do we spend $5 million a year on this guy? I know that he just won a Stanley Cup right before that with Colorado, but it seemed to me and to many others that it was the defense of Colorado that won them that cup. And yes, he did play great, but it wasn't, you know, you put him with the Capitals defense and he just didn't play very well. And but he has had a resurgence for the Kings with 30 wins, 11 losses, and a 205 goals against and a 9.2 save percentage with 5 shutouts this season. So
it's you just never know, right? Like you never know. Like sometimes it's a change of scenery does a lot for a player. I did want to mention like one more team though, because I think Winnipeg is had a really really good year. Like they're doing everything well, but our buddy Stewart has no confidence in them in the playoffs. That's why I didn't mention them because I'm like, is it a regular season wonder? That's a good question. I don't know.
I wanted them to get the President's Trophy. I kept them being like, "You can have it." So
nobody wants the President's Trophy, man. Like that's just a kiss of death. And it looks like, they're on pace to get it based on what I see here.
Oh, they did. They've already clinched it. Actually,
they already clinched it. Oh, that's no good. I'm sorry, Stuart. I'm sorry.
And that's why I was like, everyone's like, the Capitals are sucking. They've lost this game 7-0, and then 4-1 or whatever, and it's the end of the road. I'm like, hey, man,
how many games are you talking about? 5, like 4 for the Jets, and who are they playing? We'll find out, I guess. But
yeah,
I want them to win though, because like I want that team to be good, because like they are always so good in the regular year. Like I want
it to be like March Madness this year and you have 2 number 1 seeds. How exciting would that be? Because both games between Winnipeg and the Capitals were 2 of the best games I'd seen all year, even if you were not talking about the Capitals. Both games highly competitive. Both games went to overtime, I believe. And yeah, so that would be exciting.
I think that would be a very good matchup. Not for TV, obviously. The TV ratings would be awful for that series. But it would be a good matchup.
No, Ovechkin and all of his record-breaking season. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Market size is still going to be a thing, though.
Right.
Compare that to like Toronto versus like Detroit or something like that in the
right.
Final.
But think about this. It was such a wild year. We was talking about this in our Capital segment earlier. No Boston, no Pittsburgh, no Philly, no New York Rangers. Never happened before. And it's the 4 biggest rivals for the Capitals. Although some people argue that the only season that the Capitals or Pittsburgh ever win the Cup is when they beat the other in the second round.
I don't want to get overconfident, though, because my question to you, Robbie, which of the teams in the Eastern Conference could be the proverbial UMBC to the Capitals in the first round? Like, who would be the team that could possibly
Oh,
Very
yeah.
unlikely, like 1 out of 10 chance, but could possibly
I
be
don't even think it's that unlikely. It's a rematch of the 2010 Montreal Canadiens all over again. I
Oh,
went to Game 5 when we got halaked, and I knew we were going to lose the series, even though we were up 3-2 still, and we did. So I've lived it, Davey. So I know. And then of course we talked about this earlier in the hockey segment. All of the Caps fans are doom and gloom because we lost 2 meaningless games, and they're like, "See, we can only either have the cup or the record. You can't have both in the same season." I'm like, how can you even say that when the playoffs haven't even started yet? But most Caps fans think we're screwed, even though we're the one seed.
Here's the thing. All right, so I mean, I don't really have any real feel for that because I haven't seen. I think that the thing that's a little tricky with the Capitals is that they started so hot in the beginning of the year, right? So like that does kind of skew your perception of how good they could be. So the record they have, I mean, obviously you can't take that away from them, but I can understand why people might be not sure because the team you saw at the beginning of this season is not the team you see at the end of the year. You'd rather be the team that started off slowly and then came in hot. And so, yeah, I get that. Like we'll see what happens, but I don't know. Time will tell. You're right though about the Canadiens. That's a pesky team.
Right.
Terrible goal differential, but you never know. Some teams just match up well with other teams, right?
Right. And, Columbus, could sneak in. We tried to help them out by giving them some wins there. So that'll be interesting to see if Montreal is able to hold on against Colorado. But bad look for Montreal to have an opportunity to clinch tonight and lose to a very bad Chicago team, which I thought was interesting. So they'll now, we'll see if Ryan's E-Flats team will knock them out in regulation, or if Montreal can hold on and take that playoff spot. So definitely a lot of interesting stuff with this last week coming up here. But yeah, I'm not super like, oh, we're going to go far in the playoffs this year, although I want us to. But most people didn't even have us making the playoffs. People didn't have Ovechkin getting the record this year. So we've already kind of defied expectations. Everything's a little bit gravy. But to speak to your point, we haven't actually gotten out of the first round since we won the cup. So I think it would be a big thing going forward for sure.
Yeah, and I think you have to always go back to the idea that the champion is still a champion until someone eliminates them. So Florida is going to be the team to beat until someone beats them.
Yeah.
That's sort of my take on it.
I'm happy they're on the other side of the bracket. So, we don't have to play them.
Well, that's the thing about the system that really gets me. It's like, why are we forcing teams to play each other in the division again when you've already did it in the regular season? Like, I don't like. I've never liked this new format. Like, they need to go back to the format they had before, where you had just a straight up 1-8, and then you just play that. Like, there's no variety in that. Like, we've already seen Carolina play Washington like 3 to 4 times a year. Like, why do we need to see another series with this? Like,
I think the idea is to build these rivalries. So it's like
I don't know, man. Like,
yeah,
it's repetitive.
It is a little.
I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
Do you consider that a rivalry? Like, is Carolina Washington?
Yeah,
like
I would say in the last decade they have been.
Okay.
So, but just because they've had some pretty crazy playoff matchups recently, but because of this format. So I don't, without the format, I don't know if they would have been. Although they have a very interesting history because they both were in the Southern Division in the NHL for a long time together, and then they moved into the Metro together. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry to take up so much of your time with this. Like,
it's
interesting.
It is interesting. It'll be interesting to see next week. And I hope that we play in the second round because I'd love to have Ryan on the show and have a debate about that. So that's at least the goal for sure. And Champ, any final sports topic that you wanted to talk about? Do you want to talk soccer? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it a little bit. The game against Cincinnati, it was only a 1 goal and it was scored by Cincinnati. It wasn't really much to talk about. United only had 14 shots and only 2 of them on target, so you're not going to win much. Even though you had 58% of the possession of the game, you're not going to do much with that. So it was not really a good game for them, and they're really, really, really struggling right now are the United. They're currently 13th in the Eastern Conference table with only 6 points. So they really need to get it together here if they're going to be competitive. Yes, it's a long season. They have a lot more to go, but it's going to be tough when they lost to San Jose last week, and then this week they lose and don't even score a goal. They have the Red Bulls coming up this weekend and in New York, so it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to get it back. There's a win probability of 50% for the Red Bulls and only 24 for United, and there's a 26% probability of a draw. So there's not really a lot of faith that DC United can win this one. So that's basically it. Right now, Columbus basically is leading the pack in the East at 18 points, and then it's Charlotte, Cincinnati, Inter Miami, Philadelphia, Nashville, Orlando City, Chicago, and the Red Bulls, who we play this coming weekend. They're the top 9 teams. If the playoffs were to start today, those teams, Chicago, New York, will play in a play-in, and the top 7 would be waiting. Whoever's the 7th seed would be waiting on Chicago and New York to figure out who they would play in the playoffs. But yeah, not really much to talk about there.
Nice. Coffee Talk is in chat and saying, let's go Cavs. So it's good to know that I actually know a Cavs fan. And he says he dabbles on watching them. One other quick sports update. The Nationals seem allergic to 500. They play badly. Then they play well. They get close to 500. And then they fall apart again. So that's kind of how the week went last week. They were able to win 3 out of 4 to start the week, and then they've lost their last 3 games, 2 of them to Miami and 1 to Pittsburgh to start this series. Tonight they lost 10-3. They lost to Miami 11-4. On that Sunday game. They've got 3 more games with Pittsburgh coming up this week on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 6:40 for the Tuesday and Wednesday game, and a 12:35 game on Thursday. And then this weekend series will be at Colorado. 8:40 Friday, 3:10 Saturday, 3:10 on Sunday. And then they play Baltimore next week in a Beltway series. So that is always fun. So those are some updates on your DC Sports. Thank you, Champ, for that. And thank you, Davey.
I did want to say, Robbie, though, I like the fact that they won 3 out of 4 against the World Series champs.
That's true. That's true. They're very hot and cold. I really don't know what to make of it. Baltimore is also a hot and cold team with them losing to Toronto in their last game. And they actually play Cleveland in the next 3 games for the Orioles, that is, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then they're playing the Reds this weekend before that Washington series. So we'll keep on monitoring how those go as well. And yeah, lots of awesome sports stuff to talk about. Davey, congratulations again on the Pets at Twitch. And I really highly recommend everybody go check out Davey's Eating a Sandwich. And you will find out tomorrow the next big competition. So definitely tune in. He says around 9 o'clock Eastern, I assume, and then you can figure out that. And I look forward to having the roles be reversed and having Ryan, that fat guy, get to interview you, Davey, on the process and behind the scenes stuff. And yeah, it should be a fun show. And Davey's got a bunch of cool interviews coming up, including, I believe you got Malika Music coming up, right?
Yeah, I think that's a big get. We got Malika on the 22nd, so that should be fun.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I was actually looking to see if she is on. She often does stream on Mondays. I did rate her last week. I don't see her on today. But Malika is great, and that is a big get. So congratulations on that. And yeah, I'm just looking right over here to see where I want to go. Ooh, I think I figured it out. There's some mellow guy who worked with Mike Shinoda on a really awesome song. It's called Wax Wayne Music, and he is like an ethereal musician with really cool visual effects, and it's a really cool place to wind down. So I think that's where I'm going to go today. Let me see if he's been on for a long time or what's going on there. Oh, he's just gotten on pretty recently. So awesome. So we're going to go check out him. I haven't seen Wax Wayne in a long time. I usually don't stream late enough to get him. So that should be a lot of fun. But everyone, go check out Champ this weekend. Got a lot of awesome stuff coming up, including...
Good for you, Champ, right?
Yeah, WrestleMania week.
Christmas time for wrestling fans.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So go do the watch along with him, and go check out all of that on over here. I'm going to do the champ command. I'm also Pokemon catch this thing with an Ultra Ball before it disappears. And yeah, so I'm going to start over the raid to Wax Wayne. Let me do the raid command. It'll pull that up, make a customized one, and then we will raid over to Wax Wayne as well. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I know it's a super late show tonight, and we went 3 hours. Champ, thank you for staying up to crazy hours with me here on the East Coast. And Davey, it's so fun to have you back on, and we'll definitely have to get you back on for NBA playoff talk as we get a little bit further along into that as well. And if your Kings stay in it, we can talk a little hockey in the playoffs as well.
Well, thanks for the invite, Robbie. It's always nice to be considered for this program. You're good people. Thank you.
Yes. We love Davey here. It's been fun to get to have been a part of his programming since his very first season as well, and Davey's been a staple here. In addition, definitely check out Davey's show tomorrow, Champ shows this weekend and Friday to end his season, and we'll definitely have Champ, maybe even get Sith on and some other wrestling people to talk on next week's on episode 371 of Sports on the Hill podcast, where we will talk about the end of the Capitals regular season, either preview or talk about their postseason if it's already started, and we will talk WrestleMania and more next week. So thank you everyone for tuning in. With that, I'm going to send us over to Wax Wayne, and I really appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Gokigenyo. Sayonara.
Bye, everyone.